You damn right. Hope everybody is having a good Tuesday. Getting into May, still breaking down the NFL draft. Obviously, the NBA playoffs continue to roll on. And if you are into dynasties, history, and those discussions tonight, should be fun as the Steph LeBron thing hits its next chapter. Game one of that series. We'll go back to last night and what happened in the NBA. We'll continue to break things down, as I mentioned, from the NFL draft, but also continue to look at some things on the college basketball front. Texas men's hoops and what's going on there. We'll even kind of peek ahead to the NBA draft on today's show. Lots going on. Let's get going. It's Chad and Zay on this Tuesday. I'm Chad Hastings, and he is Isaiah Collier. What's up, Zay?
Chad, what it do? Feeling good on this Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. Not as good as you, though, because now it's all starting to take form. Your Atlanta Falcons fandom is really starting to take shape. We're going to talk about a number for Bijan today, so it's all starting to come into focus for you.
Interesting number that he took, too.
You excited about that?
I'm really excited.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that. We'll get into some Bijan talk. He's getting national love for being chosen by Atlanta. Now Atlanta's figured out which number he's going to wear. We'll get into all of those things. We've got the NFL update of Jordan Love. Going to obviously be the Packers quarterback, but he gets an extension today.
For what?
This is a confusing story to me. I'm trying to understand it. It is a 1-year extension. So after this year, and he's making a little over $2 million this year, $2 million, 2-3, whatever you want to say. Then next year, Zay, a 5th-year rookie option, if the team chose it, would have paid him like $20.3 million. Instead, they've worked this extension that gets him a little over $22 million. So the way Bill Barnwell has explained this is, he says, I'm surprised Love would take it. The 5th-year option was 20.3. Love took $6.8 million less in guarantees for the upside of earning $2.2 million more. So just like one of the guys in the office said to me, this really is kind of betting on yourself. I guess you could look at it that way. Betting on yourself long-term, maybe a little less guaranteed, but you're getting more added on. So he's making $22.5 million next year instead of the $20 million. It does include $13.5 million fully guaranteed. So he is still going to be okay. It's not like he's making nothing. But anyway, Jordan Love and the Packers reached this deal. Why wouldn't you get into the season and see how he plays?
That's what I'm saying. Obviously, they have confidence in him. You know, they've been riding along this Jordan Love train for I don't know how long. They're not getting other quarterbacks during the Aaron Rodgers saga. So
yeah, now you asked me, they did draft one. I'd forgotten. They took the Penn State kid, Clifford.
Uh-oh.
Like middle of the draft, 5th round. 5th round, Sean Clifford.
Clifford got a little moxie.
Yeah.
He's solid.
He's all right.
He got a solid Big Ten career. But, I mean, Jordan Love, it's going to be an interesting season for him. I'm definitely going to be locked in on Green Bay Packers games because we know history shows the last person that waited his turn ended up being a Hall of Fame quarterback. Do I think Jordan Love will be that? Probably not, but the organization has a lot of confidence in him. We've seen the games that he's been in. He could do a little something, but can you do that with the full 18? Can you do that after you play a couple of games and now you're scouted and these defensive coordinators start taking away your pros and we start seeing those cons? Well, that's what we're really going to see in Jordan Love. Let me see you week 4 where you got a lot of film,
right,
being seen and you come out there and you got to execute still. We'll see then. Plus, they don't got much talent there to begin with. Like, they still got a pretty good backfield with Jones and Dillon. But other than that, their wide receiver, the best wide receiver, went to New York with Rodgers.
Yeah, there's so many great stories, as always, in the NFL. But for me, watching the division that Brady is leaving and watching the division Aaron Rodgers is leaving will be two interesting stories to watch there, obviously. In an NFC that is not quarterback rich. The quarterbacks live in the AFC, and Rodgers is going to join them. So you've got that weird division with Tampa and Carolina and Atlanta and the Saints. Who's going to take that over? Derek Carr moves into that division and some of those other stories. Baker Mayfield's in that division now. And then for this particular division, the Packers are believing in love, obviously. And then you've got what the Lions are trying to do, although they had that draft and confused a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got Minnesota and the Bears. Bears changing some things at the top. And then Minnesota believing that now there's not a whole lot in Kirk Cousins' way of winning that division. They should be your favorite going into next year.
Yeah, and I like to pick up Jordan Addison. We know he had a tough combine, but when you lose Adam Thielen, which is now in his low 30s, and he's definitely lost a step or two, bringing a guy like Addison in who could do some things, winning awards for best wide receiver in the nation when he was at Pitt on the other side of Justin Jefferson, they're going to be pretty good still. I know Cook is on his last bit of the contract. That's why people were thinking about, could Bijan Robinson go there if he fell to the Vikings up in that later teens, early 20s? I don't remember right now, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's the Vikings to lose. And I don't know. I take that back. I think it's going to be a battle between Detroit and the Vikings.
Vikings and Minnesota.
Vikings and Minnesota. And Detroit.
Lions and Minnesota. Yeah. I think that's probably fair with what Dan Campbell and that crew did. And even as weird as the draft picks were, they obviously still have some talent there. So you got that NFL note to start the day. Also, before we get into last night's games, this was quick, Zay. We talked about Dylan Brooks yesterday, the worst villain in the NBA because he threatened to be a good villain and then just went away and shut up.
That's right. He's going to get a chance to redeem himself next year, baby. Comeback season, Dylan Brooks, Memphis Grizzlies.
But apparently that's already done. They've already decided. What? Like the GM the other day was saying they were going to take a look at things and they didn't know. They have team option, or he's a free agent after the season, right? Not option. He's a free agent after the season. And now they've already told us that he's not part of the plan? Is that?
Life comes at you fast.
Whew. Man,
life comes at you real fast.
So Dylan Brooks will not be back with Memphis. You talked about what he means to a team, what he brings to a locker room, and it's that, grief to dollar ratio, or in this case, grief to success ratio. He's not bringing you enough success to validate that grief. Does anybody want to take on Dylan Brooks after what he just showed us?
Yeah, he's going to get a shot. It might not be a contender. He might have to work his way back up with a team that has no aspirations of really making the playoffs, more like a team that's going to be in the lottery in 2024. That might be his best bet. But yeah, he's supposed to be a 3-and-D guy, but he doesn't make threes anymore. And then you're just talking mess and not taking your responsibility for your actions by dodging the pressers and getting fined and stuff. That sends a bad look to the Grizzlies, who already has problems with their star player. You ain't helping.
Yeah.
He needs nothing but positive energy. He needs a veteran that could take him under his wing. I'm talking about John Morant, that could say, yo, bruh, you can't be doing nothing. We're going straight to the gym like that stupid commercial you have. You need to live that. You don't need to be doing all these other things. And guys like Dylan Brooks, they're not going to give Ja that. So he's dealing with his own problems, also not producing on the court. And then you got to deal with just the locker room.
Yeah.
And with your star player, John Morant, he has his own issues. No, it's not good. Got to get rid of him, start new. Good move by the Grizzlies.
When I watched that John Morant commercial, my first thought is, if there were 3 John Morants and you could get one of them to shoot baskets, what would the other 2 be doing? Like in real life? That's the scary part for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Danger.
Right. That's a little bit of danger. So Dylan Brooks won't be back with Memphis. We'll get to the LA Golden State series. That gets started tonight. Last night, couple of big wins. Denver goes up 2-0 on Phoenix, and the Philadelphia 76ers start the series with a 1-0 against Boston. Even without Embiid, they win it 119-115. And Zay, I don't know if we need to take credit for this or not, but I think we motivated James Harden enough to get the performance. My God, 45 last night.
Vintage James. We were talking about him yesterday. He had to have this type of game. With no Joel Embiid, with how he was acting in between the first round and the second round, being in Vegas, slapping brothers. You can't be doing that.
He slapped his shot straight. Man.
He slapped the crap out of dude.
Something about when you slap that guy with the right hand, it really lined up his left hand.
But now, that James that we saw yesterday, how locked in he was. After the game, Chad, they were celebrating stuff. He said, get your ass to the locker room. This ain't nothing. This only game one. This ain't nothing. We got 3 more games to win. Y'all get to the locker room. Yep. I'm locked in. I'd be looking at James like, James, relax. You were just in Vegas, bro. I know you're on one right now. We appreciate the performance you put on. We appreciate it. But relax. We'll go to the locker room. Just relax. But, man, 17 for 30. The doo-wop crossovers. Doo-wop. Like, I talk about brothers out there dancing with the ball. Just between the legs. He hit Jaylen Brown, which Jaylen Brown's one of the best defenders in the league, with one of the nastiest crossovers between the legs a couple times, just lulls you to sleep. You're waiting for him to make the move, and then all of a sudden, it's so quick.
Yep.
If he gets that back and Joel Embiid comes back, whether he's 100% or not, there's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Plus Tyrese Maxey, huge game by him. Malcolm Brogdon, tough turnover.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's one of the smartest players in the league.
That ends up being not the biggest moment of the game, but it was close.
It was close. Jason Tatum came back on the other end and got fouled, hit those free throws, which led to the James Harden game-winning bucket. But, man, you're controlling the game at that point. And now the pressure's on. That was a tough moment. But, yeah, if I'm the Boston Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping at all. They got one. You got to come back the next game. You got to double team James more. I don't think they expected James Harden to get back to that mode, because against the Nets, against Brooklyn, he struggled. He only 17 points a game, 8 assists. That ain't no 45.
Right. He went 7 of 14 from beyond the arc last night.
Yeah. So they're playing him different. Plus, without Joel Embiid, how are you scouting them? You know what I'm saying? Like how it's just different. And I think they really let up the Celtics in this game, and that lost them one.
They really, I mean, just it's such a disappointing loss for the Celtics. You shoot 59% at home and lose 94% from the line. They weren't great from beyond the arc, but 39%, it should have been enough. The way they shot the ball, they were like 80-something% in the first quarter and 65% through that first half. And I thought the guys on TNT nailed it last night, Zay. It was way too close. Boston should have been thrashing them at the half.
Yeah.
And they just weren't. They weren't putting in all of the detailed work on the other end that it was going to take. Harden ends up with 45. By the way, real quick, back to that Maxey moment, the bad turnover. It was Brogdon through the pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Maxey play. I'll be the old man real quick.
Oh, here you go.
That's a walk, right, Zay? I mean.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's like 3 massive
boom.
Boom. That's not like the pickup thing where I go watch it on a replay and I go, oh, no. Okay, that wasn't his first step. That was his first step. But this one, come on, man.
Yeah, it's a walk. I'm not going to lie, just watching the NBA my whole life, that's just the norm for me.
Wow.
You can't call that.
That's crazy. That is crazy. It wasn't as bad as like the one for that Kansas State game a couple years ago where the dude took 4 steps. Wasn't that bad.
Right.
But that was funny. But anyway, that ends up being obviously a huge moment. And then when Harden comes back down and hits that last big 3, and like you're talking about, some of that just hypnotic dribbling that he can go to the basket. You know he can do it. He loves to go get free throws.
Doo-wop crossover, man.
He takes contact really well. He is one of the prettiest, ugly shooters we've ever seen in terms of he can go into trash, he can go into a crowd and make it work. But when he's got you thinking of all that and then he pulls up and starts hitting those threes, that is tough to deal with.
One thing that he struggled with over the course of his career with the NBA changing and going to so much analytics stuff, and the 3-point shot being such a focus, it's all threes and layups. Like D'Antoni and the Rockets, they kind of changed the way we looked at the league.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Rockets were just shooting nothing but threes or layups in the playoffs, you got to get back to the OG game. And that's mid-range jumpers and taking the bucket any way you could get it, because the game changes. And some guys, they don't realize that. Some guys, they can't adjust to it. They struggle with that. And James Harden, he's been one of those guys. He's been one of those guys that during the regular season where they just let you score and nobody's really playing D and you're just talking about analytics. You're just hoisting up threes and trying to get layups. That's cool. And then the playoffs come around and it gets tight. and the defense gets tougher and the refs start letting stuff go and you try to play that same style, it never worked. That's why those Rockets teams always lost, and Chris Paul getting hurt and a lot of other bad luck. But still, it was just hard for those teams to adjust, James Harden included. Last night, first 3 shots he made were all mid-range jumpers. Getting into the lane, body, shot. Get into the lane, little spin move, body, pull up. All mid-range game. If he does that, if he swallows his pride and says, I need to get buckets any way I can, then he gets back even at this age and even at this point of his career, losing the step, still being one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, it's like he started channeling, his inner Kawhi Leonard or DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
right.
Look at that.
And D'Antoni's my dude. Just met him. We talked about that. Just met him at the
that's right.
Steiner Ranch thing. That's my guy. But D'Antoni, he should have let them know, we got to start taking these mid-range jumpers. And they never did that.
Yeah.
They never did that versus all those Warriors teams and the Clippers, etc. And it always haunted those Rocket squads.
So Philly takes home court from Boston after game 1. And then last night, it looked for a little while like Phoenix maybe was going to be able to split with Denver. But Denver was able to get the win, 97-87. Jokic went 39, 16, and 5. Say, if I'm Phoenix, this is the most painful part. The number to win this game was 98. I said yesterday, if they play a perfect game, how much are they going to have to score? 130? Because they don't want to go on the defensive side. This one required 98 to win it, and they couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the altitude that's knocking them off, or we know they have no bench. And now Chris Paul, I don't think he'll be ready for game 3. He hurt his groin around 4 minutes in the third quarter. And at age 38, with the history that Chris Paul has, I can't see him coming back. I just don't. We know that he's hurt his groin in different series throughout his career. I remember that Spurs fans, I know this hurts. Remember Chris Paul hit that game winner on the Clippers when he was on the Clippers versus the Spurs. It was a game 7. And I think he missed a few games after that. I think it was against the Rockets their next series, but it was a groin injury.
Mm-hmm.
And this has kind of haunted him his whole career. And, he kind of got a rhythm too. Before he got hurt, Chris Paul was low-key getting into a rhythm, and they went up. And then he got out the game, and the game completely shifted. It completely shifted to the Nuggets' favor. Back to DeAndre Ayton playing scared. And Monty Williams, you're not helping them either. Every time Nikola Jokic has the ball on the block, you got to double and just live with the results. That's the playoffs. You got to take something away and just live with the results. It just is what it is. You're just going to have to give up open jumpers to somebody because the Joker, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they might be Batman and Robin, but Batman and Robin still have Alfred. Batman and Robin still have Morgan Freeman handling stuff. Remember Morgan Freeman? Morgan Freeman had the whips and all that stuff.
Mr.
Getting
Fox,
them right.
was that his name?
Batman. Everybody's like, Batman was on. No, Batman had help too.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And they got a little bit of help from Ayton, but that 14
ain't nothing.
Ended up not being enough. He was the only other guy in double figures outside of Durant and Booker. Here's the other thing from the stat sheet that has to kill you, Zay, if you're Phoenix. They lost a game where Jamal Murray scored 10. 10. Joker was at 39. Now there was the Gordon 16 and the Caldwell, the Caldwell Pope 14.
Huge 3 that he hit last night too.
He's finding some big threes in big moments.
Yeah, it was 86-81 with 3 minutes to go, and he hit that huge 3, and that was ball game.
He went 4 for 4. 4 for 4. The dude is finding big threes, but for Murray to have 10. And Phoenix still couldn't figure it out. That one's rough. Obviously, they got to go back and get a win here. But now it's 92% chance Denver wins. When you go up 2-0, it is pretty much done. Phoenix is in trouble. Denver's looking good.
Joker is so skilled. And, again, Monty Williams, you got to double him. When he's on the block, you can't double him when he's on top of the three-point line. That's insane. Or when he's at the free throw line, he gets a lot of his points there. But DeAndre Ayton, you can't figure him out because you don't want to guard him too close because he'll get into that post game, and he's way stronger than Ayton. We saw him just abuse him and get those easy jump hooks and layups. So you give him space, but then he hits threes on you. So now you have to go get closer. And then Monty ain't going to help you out. Like KD tried to come and help a couple of times and then got hit with a foul. And that goaltending by KD, bad call. That ball was still going up. These refs are so old. These guys are so athletic and so big and strong. Y'all got to understand that ball, even though it's over the rim and KD's hands over the rim, they're athletic. That's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going up. That's a block. That was a huge point of the game. That's a block. Joker blows by Ayton, throws that float up. KD, great help side. Block. They called it a goaltend. I'm like, all right, whatever. Got to keep moving on. And they just couldn't adjust to that. Those type of things. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, that three he hit right after that. Jamal Murray hit one of his lone field goals of the game, that little step back jumper, and that was it. And yeah, like we said yesterday, Suns could get swept. Chris
really could.
Chris Paul injuring that groin,
now.
that's not looking good at all. They could get swept, which Chris Paul, he's really just exercising out there anyway. A couple of buckets here and there, but he just getting cardio in. He ain't really helping that much. But just his presence, his IQ, that helps.
They do not know for sure yet if he's going to be able to go in game 2. They called it a groin strain in the game, but they don't know right now on game 2. So we'll kind of keep an eye out for that and double check that NBA schedule. So tonight you've got Miami and New York, and you've got that LA Golden State series getting started. We'll talk Lakers and Warriors as we move on through the show.
Did you see James Harden's outfit?
Yes.
What'd you think?
Oh man, it looked like a parachute jumper, like the flying squirrel suits. That's what it looked like to me.
That made bell bottoms look crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you, these NBA guys have been taunting us for years.
And was it denim? Was it all denim too?
I
the whole
know.
fit? I know the Met Gala was yesterday, which a lot of celebrities were looking crazy, but wow, James.
He was right there. He was right there in the craziness. Yeah, that was a wild outfit. That was wild.
Did he get it in Vegas?
We'll talk.
That looks like a
Must
Vegas
have.
outfit.
Yeah, probably did. He got it from a Cirque du Soleil performer.
Like, it ain't even cold no more.
Yeah.
Like, it was a windbreaker, then it's like denim bell bottoms.
Oof, that is rough.
But the windbreaker is fur. This is wild.
Yeah. No, you could look at that outfit for an hour and not figure it out. I'll give him that credit. Our man Chris Bennett on the text line says KD already getting blamed for what's happening to this Phoenix team. If you want to throw in something on the Specs text line, 337-3776. We will talk plenty of basketball. Also some football to get into. Bijan finds out what his number's going to be. Interesting choice, Arthur Blank. We'll talk about that. Plus Dion going off on the NFL. We haven't hit that story yet. We will do it. Coming up in the crab bag, I'll get you set for that XFL championship game. Let you know who's playing in San Antonio and who's looking for those second chances. And at 1:05, we'll talk some Texas men's basketball and look forward to the NBA draft with Keenan Womack of orangebloods.com. Get his thoughts on what's been going on with the Texas men's team, the good and the bad. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's talk a little sinus and snoring specialist. Hopefully you are sleeping well and resting well. Hopefully the spring weather and all the allergies and stuff aren't treating you too bad. But if you're having issues there, sinus and snoring specialists can help you out. Allergy stuff, they can get rid of your allergies for good. They did it with me back in 2017 over about a 3-year period. They get rid of your allergies. The special treatment, they dial it into exactly what you're allergic to. They can test you for 50 different things at once without needles to figure out what you're allergic to. So if you've been told the same thing over the years, or maybe you've been told different things over the years, figure out what that is ultimately. They'll help you get rid of your allergies for good. Then you're not worried about sprays and pills every day like I was doing. And past a certain point, I'm not even dealing with those drops anymore because my body had developed the defenses. That's a fantastic part of it, but they've got so much more. Call them, set up your appointment, and find out everything they've got going on there. 512-601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's sinus and snoring specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy.
Chad and Zay.
All right, getting started on a Tuesday. Headed to Scotland on this one. Bay City Rollers?
Bay City Rollers.
Saturday night.
These dudes look like they're from Scotland.
If you have not seen the Mike Myers movie, So I Married an Axe Murderer, go check it out. This song will have new meaning for you. Bay City Rollers getting us started today. Also, on the musical front, let's throw a little RIP to Gordon Lightfoot. A lot of people are mourning that passing today. Famous singer, songwriter, dead at the age of 84. An incredible long life for Gordon Lightfoot. I always think of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald first. Somebody texted us about Sundown. It's one of their favorite songs. Gordon wrote songs for so many people over the years. I have some really good friends that are Michigan folks, and when you are from that part of the world, Gordon Lightfoot, the Canadian legend, he's big time up there, man. They worship the guy. So rest in peace to the great Gordon Lightfoot, dead at the age of 84 today on the musical front. Speaking of music, Aerosmith coming to town with the Black Crowes live at Moody Center October 23rd. Remember, tickets are on sale this Friday, but you can win now on the contest page at hornfm.com. I told you we'd have a chance for you. Get on there and check it out. hornfm.com. Win those tickets before you can buy them. You'll get a chance to get in the drawing there at hornfm.com. Chad and Zay with you on this Tuesday. We were just talking some basketball. Let's get into some football here. I hadn't heard this story, Zay, when I walked in, but I am a big fan, as everybody knows, of the jerseys, the uniforms, and how everything, plays out there in the world of football. And one of the big things when you become the draft pick in the NFL, got to figure out what your number is. So Bijan Robinson headed to Hotlanta, trying to figure out what his number's going to be. Bijan figures, well, let me check on that 5 because I made 5 look pretty good in burnt orange. There's a problem. His name is Drake London.
Yeah.
He's a badass, and he's their number 1 pick last year. You can't ask a dude that quickly, a first-round pick, to give it up. If he was their 6th-round pick, it would have been different. So at that point, Drake London's like, no, I'm 5.
Yeah, I guess the pitch, Bijan said, look, Drake, you could get an endless amount of mustard if you just give me that number.
Right, yeah.
I'm more of a Mayo guy.
So instead of leaving the 5 and maybe adding a 2 or looking at something, another number, he's going to stay single digit, but Bijan Robinson's going to wear 7, kids. So 7 at the moment was being worn by their kicker, Younghoe Koo. Yeah. He's gonna switch numbers, and he's gonna give Bijan this number. First thing I thought of when I heard 7 in Atlanta, that's Michael Vick's number.
Yeah.
So Michael Vick, there are still Falcons fans walking to games, I'm sure, wearing 7 Vick jerseys.
Oh, absolutely.
They still love the guy on some level. He was their stud for a while. We all know, kind of what happened and how everything fell apart for him in Atlanta. But that number still has certain meaning. They obviously didn't retire it because of, I don't even know if Atlanta does do the retired number or just does a.
Clearly not. They're giving it the freaking kickers.
Well,
so disrespectful.
Just a Ring of Honor thing or whatever. That is a weird move in and of itself.
That's mad. I love Bijan, but I think this is a little, I don't know.
The fact that Koo was wearing the number is weird.
Koo, ain't no way you just, Bijan at least deserves it because greats should get other greats numbers. Kind of like the playmaker CeeDee Lamb situation. But kicker?
So this one now, this is fascinating to me, trying to sort of reclaim the 7. So now you're going to have people walking in with 7 Vick jerseys and 7 Robinson jerseys.
Yeah.
And theoretically, 7 Koo jerseys.
Stop. Nobody bought that.
Come
on. No, ain't no way. Other than his family, nobody bought
you're right.
that.
That didn't happen. And they've already done a little mock-up when they sent it out on Twitter to announce it and said there's just something about that number 7, and they've mocked Bijan up in the black and red with the new that new silver face mask and everything.
Clean.
He's looking sharp.
It's clean.
He's
Them
looking
uniforms
sharp.
are clean. I love Falcons colors.
But I'm going to tell you, it's good. Having watched the whole era happen, it's going to take a little while before I get used to anybody in that uniform on offense wearing 7 that ain't Mike Vick.
Yeah, because these last few years, nobody watching Falcons football. We just aren't.
Yeah.
You peek in on Red Zone every once in a while, see if Kyle Pitts is getting anybody any fantasy points, but nobody was watching the NFC South this year. It was terrible. So I had no idea that the kicker was rocking 7. And Arthur Blank, you should be ashamed of yourself for doing that. Like Mike Vick, I don't care if he's a felon or not. He deserves way more than this. Like, he did his time. He paid for it that way. Nobody should be rocking 7 for what he did those few years he was in Atlanta. Even Bijan. I love Bijan Robinson. We could have found a different number for him.
Yeah.
We could have. He deserves any number, but I think Mike Vick deserves that respect. That's where I'm going with it. And clearly, he doesn't get that in Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We're getting text in, somebody saying, it's not a running back number, it's a quarterback number. And I agree with you in theory, but remember, the NFL has relaxed those rules these last few years and decided that they're going to let skill guys, running backs, receivers, defensive backs, go single digits if they want to. Go into, more interesting number choices. And if you wanted to go, Michael Irvin in college, I think they may even let you do that. He rocked 47 at Miami. So I think they're going to let you, do those things. So this one will take a little bit to get used to. But if you're interested, and I know Zay is, so we bring this up mainly for Zay's Closet because you're going to probably end up with one of these jersey, Shurzy, something.
Yeah.
So are you comfortable with a 7 Robinson? You ready to go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bijan Robinson, he's going to sell a ton of merch. We know his face is just going to light up the TV. I can't wait to see him in commercials and stuff. That's coming very soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming very soon. And especially the Atlanta culture. The Atlanta culture is so unique, and they're very prideful, and they're going to embrace them. They're really gonna embrace them, especially with the black culture that they have down there and the positive aspects. Bijan and his faith, that's gonna tie together, and I think it's a perfect match in that aspect. Just they're an up and coming team. We have no idea what Desmond Ridder is gonna be. Y'all know how I feel. Don't get me started. Week 6, week 4, Desmond, you got until week 4 to show us something, and if you don't. You know who behind you. I'm just saying. Now, there should be a quarterback behind. To be honest, if you're Arthur Smith, the smart thing to do is just say, I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll see in camp.
Yeah, my question to you is, are you going to buy your Heineke jersey first?
Yeah, that might be an issue. That might be an issue. It's going to be hard when I look at that Taylor Heineke jersey and see Bijan right next to it. It's going to be hard to choose. I'll probably pick Bijan because they'll be more available. They go sleep on Taylor, just like everybody does. They're going to sleep on him. They want to believe in Desmond Ridder. He got picked high, so they have no choice in that way. But we know, Chad, the locker room tells you who the starter should be. And we know Taylor Heineke, there's something about him. Now, he might not have all the talent, but he has a weird it factor that everybody just loves and embraces. Will he throw a turnover a game? Yeah. Will he might fumble that thing and it might turn to a touchdown? Yeah. Those very possible.
I wouldn't tell that to the locker room, though.
But you just gotta know. You gotta be realistic.
Keep that off to the side.
You gotta be realistic.
Yeah.
But shoot, Desmond Ridder, you better be on your A game.
By the way, if you're going to get your Heineke jersey, from what I'm seeing here, that'll be a single digit too. That's 4 for Taylor Heineke.
Fire. Yeah.
4 for Heineke, 7 for Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. All right. But real quick before we hit this break, Deion Sanders. Still making comments. There was a lot of positive Deion for a while. Now we're getting into kind of the other side of Deion, where he seems to be getting ripped for stuff. So what's he getting? No, wait. Is he criticizing or is he getting criticized here? I can't keep it all straight.
He's criticizing.
Okay. He's after the NFL here, right?
Yep. He said it is a shame that only one HBCU player was drafted in this year's 2023 draft, and that was Jackson State, Isaiah Bolden. Deion. Feeling a little Steve Jobsy, feeling a little, Elon Musky. This is rich. You left HBCUs because of the resources, or should I say lack thereof.
But could he just be, maybe he's just too close to it these last couple years.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's it. He's been in the forest of the HBCU. He's been noticing all those trees up close. And he's not thinking of it as the total package. Now he's backed up thinking, wait a minute, I just saw all that great stuff for a couple years, and it's just one guy?
Then why don't you have nothing but HBCU players going to Colorado then? If that's the case, if they sleeping on all this talent that you talking about, then you should have all the people that you lost because you need cats. You need people on the roster.
He is taking a few. He's taking a few with him.
You better take Mo
to Boulder
because apparently there's all this talent out there, huh?
A lot of guys leaving in Boulder, too.
A lot of guys leaving. So, hey, that means you should go to all these HBCUs, Prairie View, Texas Southern, Grambling, Jackson State, Howard, all of them. Go to them all and find the best players if they are these NFL future talents and put them on your roster. It should be that easy. You shouldn't be tripping all the people giving you all this crap about you losing guys and stuff and you talking about people not having the right socks on and you kicking them out of practice. And, as you could get rid of that if you just bring all this air quote talent from this HBCU. I know there's talent there, but now Deion comes from the NFL. Let's respect it more. You know that there's scouts out here. They're going to find you if you're good enough. They're going to find you because their jobs are on the line.
Mm-hmm.
You kidding me?
Yeah, that's a wild comment, man.
I don't want to be racial. I hope he's not being racial because that he could easily go that route. He could easily go, but then you look at the NFL, everybody black in the NFL besides your quarterbacks and kickers. So you can't really say that. I don't know where he's going with this, and it's very odd that he said something.
And as 3 of the top 4 paid quarterbacks in the league will tell you, sometimes those are black too.
Yeah. So what does this mean? Do you just want to talk because you're Deion Sanders?
Well, yes.
That's just what it is.
That is always part of it.
Okay.
You remember that.
Okay, that's just what it is.
Because you got to remember, one of the things he's got to bring to Boulder, if this thing's going to turn, is noise and attention and circus and drama. He's got to do that. He's got to inject it with some energy. It's just that energy has gone from a positive to kind of the negative side of it now. It just feels like the energy has gotten a little stale. He's going to have to, and he'll reinvent. He's Deion. He'll go, I'm sure it'll be up and down. I'm sure it'll be a roller coaster of energy. But right now, it's kind of on that low end to me. This is a little bit of more of the a little cloudier energy for him, where it just feels like instead of him being that story everybody's looking for and he's smiling and having a great time and being that energetic Deion, it's a little bit of that lower energy. And this feels like some weirdly placed angry energy.
Well, be yourself. We know Deion is just his own type of character, but even he could be a little bit much. When you come in with the cowboy hat and stuff like that ain't you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I get you're trying to embrace the culture in Boulder. I completely get that. Shout out to my guy Derek, who went to Colorado outside.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it could be a little much. And right now, he's doing a lot. And it's not positive. It's not. Like saying this, when you come from the NFL, not everybody's going to be Jerry Rice coming from Mississippi Valley. That's not. And they found him in the 80s.
Right, Walter Payton, Jackson
Walter
State.
Payton. They're going to find you if you're good enough. So this statement, unnecessary.
Sounds weird. Yeah, this text says it's so hypocritical coming from a dude who dipped from an HBU instead of raising it up. All right, so I think a lot of people are going to have that angle on Deion. We'll keep watching the Colorado story there with Deion coming up in his first year. Coming up at 1:05, Keenan Womack of OrangeBloods.com. We'll talk to him about the very latest with Texas men's basketball. What did he think of the Ron Holland situation, and where does he think Ron Holland will end up? Plus, we'll ask him about Arterio Morris heading to Kansas and get some thoughts on this upcoming NBA draft. Does he see Dylan Mitchell getting drafted in this next draft? We'll talk to him about that. Up next in the crap bag, the XFL championship game is set. I'll let you know who's going to San Antonio, including a guy that'll connect back around to an Aggie joke I know a lot of you Longhorns like to make. It's a joke the Aggies wrote themselves. I'll tell you who it is next on The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Another band I think that's out there on tour this year for one final time. Speaking of a band that does the final run multiple times, Kiss and Dr. Love. Calling Dr. Love, right?
Calling Dr. Love.
Sorry, calling Dr. Love.
What version of Kiss is this?
So this is old school. This is the old school first run Kiss. This is in makeup, back in the day, original lineup. Paul, Gene, Peter, Chris, Ace Frehley, way back.
Okay.
70s. This is early to mid 70s, if I had to guess. Dr. Love is probably on Rock and Roll Over.
There we go.
Is that right?
Yeah, good job.
There it is. Weird things you know sometimes. No, I was the perfect age to be a big-time Kiss fan for a good part of the childhood. So it happens. I've seen Kiss a few times, and they're back out there. There's a lot of bands getting out there. Maybe one last time or still getting the tours going. And remember, hit hornfm.com if you're interested in those Aerosmith tickets. Also, coming up a little later in the show, our man Bucky Godbolt has told us he's got one spot that just became open at the Mullet Open for Friday. We're going to give that away in the 2 o'clock hour. So be listening in our 2 o'clock hour if you can play golf on Friday out there at the beautiful Hyatt Lost Pines in Bastrop. We're going to be doing the show out there on Friday as well. Bucky and Aaron show, our show, and we've learned today Ball Don't Lie will also be out there.
Nice.
At the golf event on Friday. So there's a spot available. We'll tell you how you can get in there if you can do it in the 2 o'clock hour. Also, we want to remind you the Horns Golf Tour of Central Texas, powered by Callahan's General Store, is on the move, and they are checking out the Onion Creek Club, founded in 1974. Our own Aaron Hogan, Omar Uresti, and Charlie Wilson from Callahan's General Store out there telling you all about the course, showing you around the Horn Golf Tour of Central Texas, powered by Callahan's General Store. Spotlights Onion Creek Club at hornfm.com. All right, let's get into the crap bag here, and I'll tell you who's headed to San Antonio to get a second chance.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. So this past weekend, we figured out who's in the XFL championship game. I know there's a lot going on, so I'm just filling everybody in. I get it. I have had trouble sometimes peeking in on the XFL and trying to follow things, but we do have a Texas team in the championship. It's Arlington and Bob Stoops. The Arlington Renegades went 4-6 on the season, so there's a little weirdness here with the XFL. I know what they did, though. They have 3 teams in Texas, and they already knew the championship game was in San Antonio. So by making it a division winner on one side, the 2 best in the division play for the title, 2 best in the division on the other side, by doing it that way, you get a chance that 2 Texas teams could play for the South Division, which they did, and then Arlington beat Houston, even though Houston had already beaten them twice, couldn't beat them a third time. So Arlington's in with a 5-6 record. That sounds kind of weird, I know.
Good grief.
That's not terrific. What they should have probably done if they went just pure records is that you had Seattle, D.C., and St. Louis all with winning records in the North. But they decided to set it up with the division standpoint, and I get it because
by the way, Rocky,
they're hubbed in Arlington as well, so kind of makes sense, I guess, with what The Rock and Danny Garcia were thinking. But DC is the other team. The DC Defenders are 9-1 on the regular season. Then they beat Seattle in the semi, so they are a 10-1 team coming in. Some of the names you're going to see here: DC's quarterback is Jordan Teamu. You talk about second chances. This is the kid that was at, if you remember, he's Hawaiian. He went to Ole Miss in college, and Teamu's been all over the place. He was with St. Louis in the XFL in 2020. He's been on other spring teams. He had multiple shots in the NFL just trying to make, practice squads and stuff like that. 25 years old, still trying to fight for an opportunity. He's the DC quarterback. Also, a name you'll know, especially if you're a Baylor fan, Abram Smith. Remember that dude from a couple years ago? Converted from, I think, a linebacker to a running back for Dave Aranda and was a really good contributor on their team. He's good for DC as a running back. He'll be a part of the championship game. And the other guy who's looking for an opportunity will lead us back to, if you're a Longhorn fan, maybe one of your favorite Aggie jokes from the last 10 years. So does everybody remember when Jimbo Fisher became the coach at A&M and they gave him a national championship plaque that was blank? Does everybody remember that one?
Yikes.
They all got together. They said, welcome, coach. And they gave him a plaque that said, national champion 2000 ... And they took a picture of it. They sent it out on social media. And understandably, everyone else in college football made fun of them for it because that's dumb. But to get back to this XFL game, there was a reason the plaque was made, Zay. It's because that same day, they gave an actual national championship plaque to the coach of A&M Commerce. They won their national championship. It would have been D2 at the time, I think.
D2.
D2 or D3. They won their national championship, and their quarterback was a guy named Luis Perez. And Luis is the quarterback of Arlington now. He has been well-traveled. He is spring football guy. He was in Birmingham in a league. He's been on a USFL team, but he stepped in here with Bob Stoops' group, came in. I think he started in Vegas this year, and they're terrible. Vegas is really bad this year, but he found his way to Arlington. He goes 3 touchdowns and no interceptions in the last game against Houston. They opened it up a little bit. So they won the D2 national title in 2017, an actual title, and they gave that coach a plaque. I always wondered how he felt when they then gave Jimbo the fake one.
Yeah.
The blank one.
That's stupid.
You can't give me my love without making today all about Jimbo? The hell are you doing?
Yeah, that's whack.
So I'll be pulling for multiple reasons. I'll be pulling for Luis Perez and that Arlington team to get it done. That's not until May 13th, so they're doing a Super Bowl-style thing. Take 2 weeks off. Alamo Dome, tickets still available, as low as $25 if you're interested. My buddy Rick Sacamano has a son that's addicted to the XFL. So they called me up, and they say he's a Ravens fan during the NFL season, and he really fell for this league. He's my daughter's age. He's like 15, 16 years old. And so he said, hey, man, you want to go to the title game? And I said, sure. So we're going to the game. I'm going to go check it out. Alamo Dome.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That makes me want to go back to my teenage years. Was I that just naive? That thinking did I like stuff like that? If you're in love with the XFL, man, kid.
Right.
Because you love the game.
Because when I was 10 years old, I fell in love with the USFL, but that wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, they had stars in that league.
Because I fell in love with Herschel and Reggie White and Steve Young.
Jim Kelly, right?
Jim Kelly. So
Yeah.
I can't guarantee you that I would have fallen in love with this level of talent.
That's what I'm saying.
But I dig that he has. I think that's kind of cool. Like, I'm trying to peek in on it just for these opportunities. I like the vibe that The Rock and Garcia are throwing out about try to be the 54th player. Try to be y'all are all the 54th guy because you can't make an NFL roster consistently. We're trying to give you that opportunity. And there's been some decent football played. I'm just glad hopefully they can get to the end of the year and keep it going. But we've also got a USFL season
it
that
just started, right?
I haven't watched a second of it yet.
I saw a
It's
snippet.
all packed in there, man.
It was on NBC. I saw a snippet when me and my wife were out to eat this weekend.
Yep, it is all packed together. Because of my wrestling connections and being a wrestling fan, and it started first, I had to kind of check the XFL out. But I'll be honest with you, man, I haven't been able to watch every game because there's too much going on.
Light bulb.
Yes?
Dylan Brooks, WWE.
No, well, I would disagree because apparently he doesn't want to cut promos anymore.
He could do it. He could do it.
No, he'd say he wouldn't do it.
I think he could do it. I think he could do it now.
Are you sure? Because if the other person in the match says something to him, he's got to respond.
Yeah.
He knows that?
Now that it's in the script.
We're going to coach him?
Yeah. Now he was going on NBA, no script.
Okay.
He kind of do his own thing, even though he got fined. Vince McMahon, even AEW for sure. Let him do that. He could do it all. But I don't know if a team will pick him up. That's why I'm giving them those options.
He has the look clearly, and he had the initial promo, but you got to keep going. You got to keep it
He's
going.
got the body for it.
Yeah, but
He's not a slender guy, pretty stocky,
No, that's true. No,
dirty.
be interesting. I don't know. We'd have to see how he how he would work in a ring, but that's a decent idea. I like how you're helping him out on the
I'm
day.
trying.
The day we find out he won't be in
Yo,
Memphis.
I'm trying. I would go to WrestleMania so fast if the main event was Draymond Green versus Dylan Brooks. Lord have mercy. Take all my money, WWE.
That's one you won't see because Vince and the crowd, they want to make sure there's at least one person in those matches that can help that guy out. They're not going to put two of them in the same match.
What do you mean?
Not
Rodman, Carmelo? What's the difference?
That was a tag match.
Oh, that's right. It was
With
Hogan,
DDP
Diamond Dallas
and Hogan.
Page. That's right.
Gotta have somebody to help out.
Yeah, they needed help.
Yeah, you got to have somebody to help him out and show him off. I mean, you have to somebody to make him look good.
Yeah.
Logan Paul this year, he came out looking like $1 million because Seth Rollins was in there with him to make him look good. The Miz did a great job for Logan and Bad Bunny recently. The Miz made both those guys look good. That's kind of part of it. You got to put them over.
I'm trying to think who would that be. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really know.
Yeah, there's some interesting.
Brock Lesnar or something.
You know what? For you AEW fans, here's the flash that just went through my brain. What about Dylan Brooks against Swerve Strickland? That'd be an interesting matchup. I feel like the body styles are the same there. Athletic, great attitude. Swerve could do all the promoing needed, and he could definitely help Dylan on along with that.
Oh, that's brother lightweight.
And then he could help him with the promos. That could work.
Them brothers like heavyweight brothers. We
my
might need, Samoa Joe. We might need some stockiness.
It's my first idea.
huskiness.
Ooh, careful throwing him in there with Samoa Joe. Careful now.
Maybe I just want to see Dylan Brooks get absolutely body slammed. Maybe that's just
Joe
it.
would make him look good.
He would.
Joe tear him up while he was making him look good. But
That's fine.
He'd make him look good.
He needs to be humble.
Yeah. All right, 1 o'clock hour coming up. Let's talk some basketball. Keenan Womack of OrangeBloods.com. We'll talk some Texas men's hoops, talk some NBA draft, and get his thoughts on the good and the bad lately for that Texas men's team. Then in the flex segment, we'll tell you about the baseball playoffs and a big matchup locally. Plus, they are lifting out in Liberty Hill. We'll tell you where you can see those videos coming up on the Horn. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a Tuesday. A lot going on today. We started with some NBA. Philly and Denver getting big wins last night. Dylan Brooks will not be back in Memphis. Your non-shocking story of the day. Plus, that Lakers-Warriors series begins tonight. We'll start breaking that down. Longhorn fans, if you're looking for that Bijan Atlanta jersey, you're going to be rocking number 7. Interesting choice there. We talked about Bijan going to get Michael Vick's old number, if you will. They did not retire it. In fact, the kicker was wearing it. But now Bijan is going to take over number 7 in Hotlanta. We've hit all that. Plus, we've got basketball on the college side to get into right now. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier. And we head to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline to talk with Keenan Womack from OrangeBloods.com. If you're on Twitter, at Keenan Womack for a follow. Keenan, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Man, I'm fantastic. I appreciate you gentlemen for having me on.
Yeah, it was really good stuff last time, and we wanted to follow up on a few things. Obviously, there's been good and bad news with the Texas men's team. Let me dive in on the negative side first. If I'm a Texas fan, the Ron Holland story. How surprised were you to hear about that change? And do you have a gut right now for where he does end up?
Yeah, so I had heard about 2 weeks before that there was potential for this to happen. I wasn't sure that it would happen, but once I had enough pieces put together, I wasn't super surprised when it broke. I think it's between the G League and Arkansas right now for him. I could see his playing, going pro, playing for the G League Ignite, or playing for Musselman in Fayetteville.
Yeah, Keenan, when it comes to Ron Holland, I know Horn fans are disappointed. And one thing that it made me think about was C.J. Miles back in early 2000s. C.J. Miles coming out of Dallas, committing to Texas, and then going to these McDonald's All-American, All-Star games and whatever All-Star games he went to. And then these NBA scouts start telling you, you might be ready for pro ball. And you don't have to go the college route. You don't have to write papers and worry about taking tests. You can worry about working on your game and getting to the next level. And if he goes to Arkansas, it would be really odd. But him going the G League route at this point, you're starting to see mock drafts, him potentially being number 1 in 2024. You can't blame the kid.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd never blame anybody for going pro in anything. It's kind of like the term selling out, right? Like Tyler, the Creator, the rapper, once said, if you're selling out, that means people want what you're selling. And so that's sort of the equivalent of going pro immediately. It's like, yeah, if you're good enough to do that, there's no reason not to. So, if you're a Texas fan, obviously being disappointed makes sense, but you can't be angry. It also reminds me a little bit of a guy who went to my high school, Josh Bell, who was a Texas baseball recruit, and wrote a letter to all these teams saying, I don't want you to draft me because I'm going to play for Texas. And then the Pirates were like, we're going to draft you in the second round and then hand you a $5 million signing bonus. And he was like, you know what? That sounds like a good plan, and nobody was mad at him at all.
Plans change. Plans can always change. We're talking with Keenan Womack. Yeah, talking with Keenan Womack, OrangeBloods.com. All right, Keenan, the last time you were on with us, we asked you about Arterio Morris. You said you felt like he was going to be was not going to be coming back to Texas. But tell me about this ultimate decision to go to Kansas. How much of a kick in the teeth is that if I'm a Longhorn fan?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is unfortunate, but that really is just the name of the game right now. I mean, if you'll remember, Tyrese Hunter played at Iowa State, and he went to Texas. I mean, that's basically the same level of inter-conference betrayal that Texas benefited from with the Tyrese Hunter acquisition. Arterio, wish him all the best. He's a really good player. I think he'll definitely carve out a role in the NBA. Reminds me a little bit of a Marcus Smart type, just a really good perimeter defender, pretty good creator, good rebounder for his size, strong. It's definitely unfortunate that he went to Kansas, across the conference, but that's the name of the game now, man. You got to expect these kind of things from players. They're looking out for themselves, and they should be.
Speaking with Keenan Womack of Orange Bloods, Keenan, Max Asmus, him committing, that is big time. I mean, him at Oral Roberts, I remember watching him for the first time in the March Madness tournament a couple of years ago with Kevin O'Banner, and those guys, man, they were really lighting it up. And Asmus, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Trae Young. What do you think with him coming to the 40 acres that's going to bring for Coach Terry's crew?
That's huge, man. I mean, as good as Ron Holland is, we've seen that college basketball, a lot of it is about experience, guys who have played college basketball a lot. And while Ron Holland is absolutely a special talent that I wish the best for, because he's a really good kid. I interviewed him a couple of times. Super nice, respectful dude. But getting a guy like Asmus is so important because he's done it in the tournament. He hasn't averaged less than 22 points in like 4 seasons. He's an absolute just stud shooter. He can attack the rack. He's not an above the rim finisher, but he's still an effective rim finisher, despite only being 6 feet tall and not having crazy hops. He's the type of guy that you can have as your best player and compete for, a Big 12 championship. He's that level of good. He had a couple of rough games this season against high major talent, but he's shown what he's able to do against these high major teams in NCAA tournaments and what he's been able to do over the last few years.
Keenan, for Longhorn fans that maybe didn't watch a ton of Virginia with Caden Shedrick, because it's such an exciting brand of basketball, and they couldn't stand that. Tell them a little bit about Shedrick. How do you think he fits into what Rodney Terry may want to do, and then how can he fit in with obviously Dylan Disu deciding to come back?
I think it's the perfect partner in crime for Dylan Disu in the front court. Shedrick, first of all, Shedrick only played 17 minutes a game, but his last game at Virginia, which was their loss to Furman in the first round of the NCAA tournament, he went like 15.7 boards, 4 blocks, or something like that. It just showed off his potential. But the fact that he was playing that many minutes in a defense that is super, super discipline-based, right? The pack line defense that he runs, Tony Bennett runs, you have to really be on top of your defensive awareness. And so he played in a system that really flexed his mental, his basketball IQ, I guess I would say. So that's a huge sign of positivity, especially to play next to a guy like Disu, who's less of a defensive big and more of a sort of finesse, scoring the basketball using skill big. So I really like the fit with Shedrick next to Disu.
Keenan, I know you cover the draft. This upcoming draft is as deep as it gets. And looking at your list, you got Dylan Mitchell at 64th pick. And I know the NFL draft just came and went. It ain't like the NFL draft where there's 7 rounds and, a lot of people make it. No, If you're 64th, that means you're not getting drafted, especially this year where I don't think pick 59 or 60 is available. And I know for Longhorn fans, that could be exciting because that means more motive for him to come back. But you having them at 64, why is that? I've been saying all year long, he just isn't ready yet. Why do you have him at 64 on your list?
Yeah, so first of all, I wanna say I really like Dylan Mitchell. I think he's a really good person, and I think he has the potential to be a good player. I don't want people to think I'm just ragging on him because I'm not. I just don't think he's particularly ready at this moment just because he sort of lacks an offensive skill set really of any kind. When he was playing like at Montverde and playing in some of those AAU tournaments and stuff, he put the ball on the deck a lot more. He would, attack the basket. He was kind of a slasher, in high school. And then when he got to Texas, he just really needs to tighten his handle, I think. And, if he could develop some sort of jump shot, because the physical potential is absolutely there for him to be, a pretty good player. I saw him compared to Aaron Gordon a couple of times. I can sort of see that, but I think if he really wants to be successful, he has to learn to put the ball on the deck, which Gordon can do to an extent. And he is a good cutter, though, which is very helpful. He's really fast. So when he comes off cuts, he can get to the rack pretty quickly. But Yeah, I don't have his getting drafted on my board. And it's not a shot at him. It's just this is a really talented draft that's really deep. A lot of really talented players in this draft. So it'll be really interesting to see where he ends up.
Keenan, as far as you know, is Dillon Mitchell one of those guys that's trying to leave the options open? I know the draft is June 22nd, somewhere around there. So it's earlier in June that if you're going to come back, you have to declare that, right? So do you think he's one of those guys that is he leaving the options open, or from what you're hearing, does he already have, full representation and everything?
I mean, he did leave the option open to return to school. I don't think he will, because I think somebody will draft him. And I think he'll get enough feedback saying somebody will draft him that he'll go pro, because NIL is nice, but the eventual goal is to get to the NBA. And a guy with the physical attributes that Dillon Mitchell has, that's the type of guy that should be in the NBA. But, I don't know. I don't think he'll return to Texas, but either way, wish Dillon the best. He's a really good dude.
Keenan, Tyrese Hunter, he's not even on your list, which not surprised at all. There's a few things he needs to work on. Plus, like you said, this draft is just so thick. What do you think he's hearing from these NBA scouts, different feedback to where if he comes back to Texas, he's ready to go, and next year in the draft that's a lot lighter in depth, he'll be ready and be eligible?
Yeah, here's my issue. Is, you look at a guy like Kennedy Chandler, right? Similar player, similar build. He's actually, I think, bigger than Tyrese Hunter even, or at least the same size. He was drafted 35th or 37th or something last year out of Tennessee. He was like a speedy, attack the basket, quick first step type of guard. And he got waived before the end of the season. So I think that is kind of an indicator of it's hard. You have to be really, really elite at something if you're an undersized guard in the NBA. If you're 6'1", if you're 6 feet, you have to be either a sniper, you have to be incredibly quick with the ball, you have to be a Scoot Henderson type or something if you're under 6'3". And Tyrese is good at a lot of things. I just don't think he's NBA ready at anything to the level that would overcome his height problem, which is unfortunate because he's a super talented player. And that's not to say he won't ever play in the NBA, because I could see it at some point. But I don't know. I think if I were him, I'd probably come back for another year, or at least do some other league or something before trying to get drafted in the NBA.
Talking with Keenan Womack, orangebloods.com. Keenan, obviously a ton of talk about Wembanyama at the top of this draft, and we'll find out on, I think it's May 15th, coming up here, whether it's the Spurs or the Rockets or who is going to get Wembanyama. Outside of that, though, give me another player right up there at the top that you love. Forget about fit, just one of your favorites that you can't wait to see how they transition to the NBA. Who else do you like up there at the top?
Oh, man, this is an easy one for me, man. I love Amen Thompson, one of the two Thompson twins. He's a 6'7" point guard. Yes, Overtime Elite is a weird league where he's playing against 17-year-olds, and it's not great competition, but he has scalable traits. He's just extremely athletic. So is his brother, but I like Amen because he's more of a point guard. I love the idea of having a hyper athletic 6'7" point guard who attacks the basket. He's shown really good flashes of defensive intensity and ability on that side. He's super quick laterally. He's really good at guarding people, icing ball screens, that kind of thing. He's really quick with his lateral movement. I just love his game, and I actually have him third on my board, which was sacrilege to some people who have Brandon Miller there. But, if you're looking at comparing Amen Thompson and Brandon Miller, Amen has a higher ceiling. Miller definitely has a higher floor. If you're somebody like Detroit, I'd probably pick Miller instead of Thompson. But Amen Thompson, man, I just love the potential. I'm really excited to see what he does.
Gotcha.
Keenan, I know you were really high on Christian Braun coming out of Kansas last year. I remember you telling me how good he was going to be in the league. And then I'm watching him guard Kevin Durant last night, making life rough for him. How does that make you feel? Because you told me that really early on.
Yeah, man, I've loved Christian Brown's game since the beginning. I kind of got like Wesley Matthews vibes from him a little bit coming out of college, but he's a great defender, man. He's really athletic, and so he's another guy that can move pretty quick laterally. He's disciplined when he goes up to contest shots. He's not leaning over and getting fouls called on him. He's playing that verticality game, which is super difficult to do just physically, but he's such a good athlete. He can make it happen. And yeah, man, it gets me stoked when I see him play because I was all about him last year, and he's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, when you play for Bill Self and his role that he had last year winning the national championship, and you see him in the playoffs now, for Mike Malone to say, yo, rookie, you got Durant, and him go out there and Durant have the game that he did last night, I know he probably won't ever have that type of game, but yeah, that kid, he'll be in the league for a while.
Yeah, man, it's really cool to see him play. I'm just a big fan of his game, man. He's all effort, all energy. He just does like small things. He can hit threes. He can defend. He can put the ball on the deck a little bit. Like, he's just such a fun player to watch. He's so versatile.
That is Keenan Womack. Check out orangebloods.com and his coverage of Texas basketball, college basketball as well. Draft coming up in June at Keenan Womack on Twitter. Keenan, we appreciate the time, man. Have a good week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ken.
Good stuff there. Good reaction to those stories. Obviously, some good and bad with the Texas men's team right now. Once again, Zay, last time we talked with him, didn't sound like he thought there was a chance Arterio Morris was going to be at Texas, and he was right there. Doesn't sound like he thinks Dylan Mitchell is going to be thinking about coming back. He thinks he's going to hear enough from NBA folks that he's going to stick around. Even if he's at that boundary line at the bottom of the draft, he's going to give it a shot.
Yeah, bet on yourself, I mean, go to the G League, see what you could do there. And, I know he made that Kenny Chandler comparison more to Tyrese Hunter, but for Dylan Mitchell, he's so athletic, teams are going to be willing to work with him to see what happens. And I just don't want him to be like a Greg Brown situation, which Greg, he's treading water on being out the league for good. He has to have some bounce back years, wanting to go to the G League, do some things. Maybe
did he get dropped from the G League as well? Or?
I don't think so. He got dropped from the Blazers, which didn't have a G League team. They're about to get one, so they might pick him back up.
I got you.
He was playing on the Clippers G League team for some reason. I don't know
weird
how that works.
We still have is it one or two NBA teams that still don't have an actual?
Yeah, Craig Way was talking about it with
right?
us, the Suns and the Trailblazers,
Portland
who are about
and
to get one.
Yeah,
so it'll just be the Suns.
God, that is weird. Basketball is just trying to get caught up to where kind of like the structure that baseball's had in place for so long. Not even every team today has their own devoted developmental team.
Yeah, and you see the Suns bench, they need a farm system. They need a farm system. They got to develop these guys early because that bench is trash.
Ooh, now, how long? I hadn't looked at the minutes yet. Durant went 44 and Booker went 45 last night, and they still lost. We said yesterday they may have to both go 48. They damn near did.
Yo, with that altitude, that's tough.
Yeah, that really is. That's a great point.
That's tough.
The only good news for those guys is these series are spreading out a little bit in some cases. I can't remember. Is it that series that isn't going to play again till Wednesday? I mean, Wednesday. Is it going to play again until Friday?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at least they get a little time to rest and then get reacclimated and move locations. We'll get into some NBA preview as the show goes on. That Lakers-Warriors series begins tonight. We'll get your thoughts on that too. Specs text line 337-3776. How interested are you to watch LeBron and his 4 rings take on Steph and his 4 rings and all the history that's been there? And they're going to try to start making some more tonight. We'll get more NBA talk in. Still talking football coming off of the draft. If you missed it earlier, Longhorn fans, Bijan Robinson's going to wear number 7 in Atlanta. All kinds of Michael Vick vibes come out of my brain when I hear that.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to make people think a little differently about that number 7.
Yeah, somebody on the Specs text line made a great point. Vic don't deserve no jersey retirement. I mean, his numbers weren't good enough. He basically let the whole franchise down. I just love Mike Vick, man. You weren't there playing Madden 2004. I was. That was some of the greatest video gaming of my life, and that makes me put Mike Vick in a whole nother stratosphere. I need to come back down to earth, even though he got those $1 million contracts. he didn't live up to what he should have lived up to.
No, it's a weird place that they have. And I do understand, and I would agree with them not retiring the number. So it'll be interesting now just to see kind of how that evolves as they just draft this guy. And ultimately, I'd be interested to hear that story too. Was that Bijan's idea? Somebody on Bijan's side of it? Was that Atlanta's idea to Bijan? You know, like when CeeDee Lamb came to the Cowboys, he didn't want 88. Jerry kind of pushed it on him.
Yeah, just forced it on him.
They argued him into it, and then eventually he said, okay, all right, I'll grab that legacy. This is just a very different legacy. The 88 in Dallas is very different than the 7 in Atlanta because there's a lot of greatness back then, but obviously there's a lot of let everybody down. Yeah. Crushed Arthur Blank's soul that year around draft time.
Yeah, and Bijan, he's from Arizona. I don't think, and that era of Mike Vick, he was a little ass kid. So that's, he never saw that. Right. And he never experienced that just being from the area he lived in. Like he was watching maybe Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, guys like that. Reggie Bush, obviously, that's who he patterned his game after. That's why he rocked number 5. But he wasn't, that's like a 3-hour difference. He wasn't paying attention to Atlanta, Georgia football back in that time.
That's fair. I'm trying to think of last number. I mean, obviously there hadn't been any number 7s in the NFL at all unless these last couple of years, but 7s as a running back. That's a rarity. That is a rare thing. I'm trying to think of it even at the college level and back in the day. It's just not many 7s I've seen as running backs unless they were quarterbacks that were also running, obviously. All right, so we've hit that. Up next, it's your Flex 30 segment. Got baseball playoffs starting up, including a big matchup of a couple of Flex area teams. Plus, they are lifting out in Liberty Hill. We'll tell you where you can go find that. A lot of cool stuff at Flex ATX on your social media. We'll tell you how to get hooked up there. Stay with us. It's The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh man, fantastic! Just got chills when you playing this song, man. There's just certain songs that always have a special place. Mr. Stevie Wonder, ladies and gentlemen.
Stevie.
Higher Ground from Intervisions. Is that Intervisions or is it Songs in the Key of Life? It's one of those two. I think it's on one of those two albums.
You know, the Night Talker always said Stevie wasn't blind.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot
That's
of
my man.
There's a lot of people that like that theory that Stevie Wonder is not actually blind. That is wow.
Night Talker, I love you, dog.
Why you would want to put yourself through that for all those years? That makes no sense. Yeah, that's one of the conspiracy theories. I've never quite understood the logic of that. The one they always go to is, look at that thing where he was on stage and a mic stand started to fall and he caught it. And I'm like, Stevie Wonder was on a stage with mic stands and all of that. He's done that a little bit. Now, if Stevie Wonder goes walking through a random hospital and somebody throws a pair of scissors and he catches them, you come talk to me and we'll have a discussion. He was on a stage with mics and music equipment. That's his life. That's what he does. You're telling me there's no chance that he might have a little awareness to when a mic stand starts to fall and he might know how to catch one? Come on.
Yeah, I think there's a video out there of Stevie Wonder trying to shoot a free throw. And he botched the hell out of it, obviously. I was like, yeah, he's probably blind.
Oh, my God. The fact that we're in an age where people say things like, Stevie's probably blind. That's sad. That's very sad. Stevie Wonder, Kiss, and the Bay City Rollers have all been on the show today. By the way, musically, on Thursday in the album swap, we're going Aerosmith and Busta Rhymes this week. Zay's going to listen to Toys in the Attic from Aerosmith. I thought we would, pay tribute to the announcement this week that Aerosmith's going back out one more time. So he's going to listen to Toys in the Attic. I'm going to listen to The Coming by Busta Rhymes. Jeff Howe was excited to hear that I'm listening to Busta Rhymes. He had another album he was going to suggest.
The second one.
I said, I'll get there. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm going to check this one out. I listened to it a little bit yesterday, track or two, trying to get into it.
How is it so far?
Honestly, I was a little distracted, so I can't comment.
Okay.
Can't comment.
That's fair.
Other things were going on, emails. One thing I hate about having the music on my phone is the emails come in and texts come in and interrupt the music.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah, as a program director, you probably got a lot of that
but
going
I have
on.
to do that.
Yeah,
now.
if I got a lot going on.
Yeah, I had to apologize to Busta a whole lot yesterday. Busta, I'm sorry. Hang on, guys. One second. All right. A lot going on. Obviously, we've got continuing to clean up stuff off the NFL draft. Bijan Robinson going number 7 in Atlanta. We've had a lot of reaction to that today. Specs text line 337-3776. Thanks to the texters reminding me, of all people, Leonard Fournette. Where's 7? Super Bowl champion Leonard Fournette, Super Bowl 55.
That's true.
And he wore 7 at LSU. Yeah. So
Leonard Fournette was one of the greatest high school football players of all time.
Oh, he's a beast, man. He is a beast. I know there were those jokes that year where he showed up at camp overweight and stuff like that after the Super Bowl, but he was a critical part of that Super Bowl run. They don't get that without Leonard.
No.
I understand Tom Brady and all the other talent on that team. Leonard was a big dog that year.
Why hasn't he ever upgraded his pads, though? Like, you could get some better pads that aren't the LSU ones that you wore in college.
Because the NFL doesn't put bad lists of those together.
Yeah, clearly.
They don't do that like they did with Tom and the helmets.
Like, I get it. Michael Jordan wore his Tar Heel shorts under his Bull shorts every game.
Yep.
So I get the superstition thing, but wouldn't there be like a safety issue, like wear and tear? Different sport,
I would think, and I made a joke there, but I would literally think they would tell everybody not only the helmets that they're testing, wouldn't they be testing shoulder pads a lot?
Yeah.
I would think.
You always see that purple just sneaking out of the jersey, and I'm like, dog.
But they'll also let the big old defensive linemen wear those little bitty shoulder pads. Offensive linemen, too, you've noticed they'll sometimes wear little shoulder pads because there's less to grab.
Yeah.
So they'll do that as well. All right, let's get you a little flex segment here and talk about some offers and videos and stuff you can check out, some of our local talent, plus something the Longhorns may want to pay attention to.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, Zay, I don't know if we are contributing to this conversation at all. We'll take a little bit of credit for it, but the Adrian Wilson offer list now includes OU. I'm just letting everybody know it already had Baylor, Tech, Oregon, TCU, Utah, and UTSA. It now has OU, but as of right now, it does not have a Texas. It does not have a Texas A&M on it. So if you are a follower of either Sark or Jimbo, you might want to let somebody know that Adrian Wilson's pretty damn good. He's got one-handed catches all over the place on social media, and he has now let everyone know he got an offer from OU. This is the talented Weiss wide receiver, if you don't know the name, Adrian Wilson. We've been telling you about him for a while, and good luck to Adrian picking a school that is going to be right for him. He is class of 25.
Like I said about him last week, you don't want to get on too late.
Right.
You don't want to get on too late.
And again,
he needs that trust.
Class of 25. Got time.
Got a little time.
This is junior year coming up. If he's class of 25, right? I'm doing that math right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's time. But OU just offered. Just letting everybody know. And you pointed out all the time, Zay, how important that early relationship stuff is. This team's been with me all this time. If we get to the end of the line and he'll go back and say, well, Oregon was on me pretty early. And they've got NIL stuff and all that. So just laying it out there.
Yeah, man. You got to make sure you're comfortable. Certain guys are comfortable. They'll take that over the big-time blue blood route, especially if the parents are comfortable, the coaches are comfortable with the family, etc. They've been going after the kid since he was in middle school. That's tough.
You saw, you told me earlier, you saw something updated on Marcus Boswell, the kid out of Lake Travis?
Yes. Sam Houston State.
Okay.
Got an offer from there.
There you go. Congrats to Marcus for that.
Which they moved up, right?
They're
no longer D1 Division 2, or
I think. Where is Sam?
I say they moved up.
I can't even remember now. I can't remember how it's all dealt with. They're at a different level now because they don't play SFA anymore.
Right.
They don't play my wife's school anymore. I think they are moving to a low D. Are they going like Sunbelt? Is that what Sam's doing? Or some? I can't remember.
The WAC.
WAC. Thank you.
They're going the WAC.
Yeah, and that's because SFA is in that strange version of the WAC now. I'm not sure what. Anyway, they've been moving there. So a Sam offer for Marcus Boswell, Chad Otutu, the D lineman from Weiss, UTSA visit coming up for him. An offensive lineman from Weiss, this is class of 26, threw out a tweet about a Texas Tech camp that is coming up. So I know a lot of those kids are focused on that. Also, Zay, we have a new group of lifters at Flex ATX. Go at Flex ATX on your social media. We've told you about the Hutto Hippos lifting. Now we're getting Liberty Hill videos retweeted from the Flex crew. Liberty Hill's kicker, Connor Hawkins, is a 5-star, and he can bench 205. If you want to go see the video, check out Flex ATX on Twitter. They tweeted out, can your kicker bench 205? Ours can. Weightlifting smack talk videos is what's going on right now. Also, Zay, young man named Joe Pitchford for the same group, Joe Pitchford, Liberty Hill, squatting 500.
Damn.
5 plates on each side, bar bending down and everything. Shout out to Liberty Hill. They are lifting weights out there, man.
Hey, that's what you got to do this time of the year. You got to get big. You got to get in that weight room so you're prepared for when fall comes around.
If you've got your weightlifting videos, your workout videos, if you got some Adrian Wilson-like one-handed catch videos you want to throw out there, make sure to tag FLX ATX. Also, Zay, how about this for a baseball series? A little Westlake Vandegrift coming up. Playoffs getting started. It is Thursday at Vandegrift. It is Friday and Saturday, if necessary, at Westlake. Oh, I remember those days. 2 out of 3 baseball playoffs. Here we go.
So much fun.
One game, one place. Go to the other place for the other one.
Yeah.
Higher seeded team gets the 2 games if they need it. Let's go.
That's dope.
That's good stuff. Best of luck to those teams. Westlake and Vandegrift getting together to start the baseball playoffs.
Is Westlake still top 5?
That's a good question. I do not know.
They're one of the best teams in the state.
I think I would assume yes.
Like multiple guys going to Texas and stuff, guys getting drafted. They're for real.
They're pretty good.
They're for real.
Yeah, they're
they
pretty
don't
good.
play. Look, the Bulldogs took them down, though. I don't know where we're at, but we took them down once.
Hey,
that's all that matters sometimes.
Got one game. That's what TCU's bragging about, that one game yesterday. They got it done.
Yeah.
15-7 one time.
Sometimes that can make or break a season.
Yeah, you never know. Never know. TCU did get that one game from Texas yesterday. 7-run fourth inning certainly didn't hurt. TCU had 6 different batters get multiple hits in that game.
Damn, were we tipping pitches?
Yeesh. Yeah, Tanner Witt, we told you, did not get off to a great start with his 23 pitches, and then really everybody else was, it wasn't just him. Everybody was giving up runs for Texas yesterday. Texas does not have any midweek game this week. They will go at Kansas this weekend. Up next is Where We At in Society with Zay. We'll get back to the NBA stuff in the 2 o'clock hour, including the preview of that incredible Lakers-Warriors series. Plus, in your 2 o'clock hour, one spot has become open in the Mullet Open. Bucky let us know earlier. We're going to give you a chance to jump in that Mullet Open if you got your golf clubs ready and if you can do it on Friday. So stay with us in that 2 o'clock hour. We'll tell you how to get it done. Stay with us. It's The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Rolling through a Tuesday. Another one I know the song. I know Boogeyman. I don't know who does it, though. Is this a group or an individual?
Group.
They
have hits.
Is this like Casey and the Sunshine Band?
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. They do have hits. Oh my God. Whew. They're one of those. They're also not a lot of bands did it exactly the way they did it. Sounded like they sounded, and then you start listening to that's one of those bands. If you went and saw them live, it'd be like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of that. Casey and the Sunshine Band, Stevie Wonder, Kiss, and Bay City Rollers all on the show today. We hope you're having a great Tuesday. More NBA talk coming up at the top of the 2 o'clock hour. LeBron and Steph getting together tonight. The Warriors hoping they can get in position. It's a crazy series to be this early in the playoffs with all the history and all the ring discussion, because normally when these two teams get together, or I should say when LeBron's team and the Warriors get together, it has been for a title. It obviously is not. Now they're just trying to set themselves up. So we'll get into that series coming up. We've been talking a lot of football today as well. More national Bijan love coming off of this draft. We'll get you more of that.
By the way, Chad, Sam Houston, they're actually going to the Conference USA. Thank you, people on the Specs text line.
CUSA. See, I knew it wasn't the WAC because that new strange WAC is where SFA's living, and I think they're going to stay, but I knew Sam was moving on because they played their last game this year.
Yeah.
This past football season. Sadly, those two aren't going to play anymore. But, yeah, you're right. That's a good call. Sam is moving up. So when you get the offer from Sam nowadays, that's a little different headed into CUSA.
Yeah, Group 5.
Yeah, good call. A little G5 action there now for Sam. Had to get used to that. All right, let's go where are we at in society and see what Zay wants to talk about today.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, Zay, what do we got?
Well, you're going to an XFL game this weekend.
Next weekend.
Next weekend. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
They take a week off before the championship game, Zay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's big-time football.
Next weekend, yeah, elite football. Especially, according to this quarterback, Ben DiNucci of the Seattle
Sea Dragons.
Said on that Chasing Player 54, Chasing the XFL Dream, I guess that's the ESPN Plus behind the scenes.
Yeah, a little
thing.
docuseries.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This fool says this is probably the best wide receiver room I've been in. Talking about his Seattle Sea Dragons.
Now, he does have Josh Gordon in that room.
Okay.
That's the one guy I'll give him there.
All right, well, let's go down the list. Let's see if you know any of these other guys that might be up to par with, I don't know, the Bengals. They have a pretty good wide receiver room.
Now, again,
the Dolphins.
The one you said he's been in, right?
Okay, so what teams has he been on?
Because DiNucci was with the Cowboys.
Okay.
So that's the thing. You'd be comparing him to, would DiNucci have been in a room pre or post Amari Cooper, and then you'd go from there. But he's been in a room with CeeDee Lamb and CeeDee Lamb.
Amari Cooper, right?
I can't remember if he would have been there with CeeDee and Amari, but it's still, you got, why can't I think of the guy's name? Colorado State. What's his name? The 2 or 3 receiver for the Cowboys. Gallup. With Gallup, with those tight ends. Schultz at tight end. Okay, all right. So who else is in the room with? I know Gordon for sure, but I can't think of anybody else right now.
Jahcour Pearson.
Pearson's been pretty good this year. Yeah, I mean he's made plays.
All right, Juwan Green.
Yeah.
Blake Jackson.
Okay.
Jordan Vesley.
Yeah. I mean that group has been really talented. I think he's trying to give him a little extra love there. I wouldn't have said it's the best receivers room he's been in.
This is how you never get back to the NFL.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
You basically said, I'm never coming back to the NFL ever again with this statement.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
Look, I get it, bigging up your guys, giving them confidence, but we know, I talk about it all the time. Don't be delusional.
Now,
Cam Newton.
let's go back real quick. Did he say most talented or did he say best?
This is probably the best wide receiver room I've been in.
Okay.
Best.
By saying best, maybe we could give him a little leeway. He could be talking about the whole full package, communication, we get along. Maybe that's it.
Oh, you're going Gary Payton, man. You're
Just
reaching.
Trying to stretch it out a little bit.
You're reaching.
Trying to give this XFL guy a little bit of love, maybe a little chance to. I'm trying to give him a little bit of, a little more rope in this discussion, or leash in this discussion, because it's going to tighten up on him pretty fast.
He was just on that 2020 Cowboys team. That's it.
That means he's there with Amari, wouldn't it? He would have been there with Amari. That's before he was gone in 2020.
That sounds right. Yeah,
that's about right. Yeah,
that was a pretty good room.
Yeah, it was. It's a good room. It's a good room.
A lot of Cowboys fans are still salty that Jerry gave all that up, or basically gave up Amari for nothing. With what all these wide receivers have been getting paid and what Amari was asking for and got, it still doesn't make much sense. But, I mean, he did give CeeDee Lamb 88 for a reason.
Yeah, no, that's true. And, hey, Josh Gordon did make that badass catch going backwards early on in week 1 or whatever that was in the XFL season. It freaked Ben DiNucci out. He was so excited.
If you replace best for highest wide receiver room I've ever been in, that'd be more accurate.
Again, but the word best could be taken a lot of different ways. Had he said most talented, I can't walk him out of that one.
No, Ben DiNucci, this is the highest wide receiver room I've ever been in. These guys are always blazed.
Oh, my God. Yeah, DiNucci had some tough times in the XFL this season. But I will point out that Seattle team was in the division championship, and they were 7-3. So, had a decent year. The question coming out of that league and USFL, it's just who gets those opportunities, what receivers are going to get looks, what quarterbacks are going to get a chance to go be backups. And DiNucci, Te'amu, this Lopez kid we were talking about earlier, Perez that's with Arlington, are they going to get those opportunities first? Will they get in the mix on an NFL team? We'll see.
Yeah. Now, if you're in the XFL with this season about to end, and I know the USFL just started, can you go jump ship? Because I'm sure there's going to be some guys that want to keep playing. I mean, 10 games, not very much if you compare it to the NFL season. So why not? If you want to keep on playing, if USFL is going to give you opportunity, why not?
Yeah, I think you'd have to get like a release from the XFL and then get that opportunity, yeah.
Okay, so there's contracts for multiple years.
Maybe.
Like there's guys getting like 3-year contracts.
Like I would assume there's maybe there's 2-year deals, or I don't know. Maybe it is
year to year.
Maybe it is a year to year, and when it's done, it's done. We'll probably see guys jumping around. I told you those 2 quarterbacks that are going to play in the championship game in the XFL, they've both been in the USFL, the other XFL before, the pandemic, and they're all just looking for a chance.
Hey, give them that chance. I wouldn't be a Taylor Heineke fan if he didn't get that chance.
That's right. He worked his way through.
Somebody said Taylor Heineke's a bum. All right. Keep talking smoke. Keep talking smoke.
Bijan's going to try to make him look good.
Yo, Bijan can make a lot of guys look good. We all know that.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Think about that play-action game. Shoot, Heineke just don't muck it up.
Yeah.
We know he can, and, he's capable, but he's also capable of winning you games. Yep. I'm telling you, Falcons, NFC South champs, I'm calling it right now. Easy money.
Look at that.
Easy money. Bryce Young, who? Bryce Young, who? Where you at, huh?
It's a gettable division. So you're saying they're going
Baker Mayfield, huh?
They're going to take out the Baker Mayfield and the Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, we ain't worried about him. We ain't worried about Derek Carr. No, we good. We good.
Or the Bryce Young.
That's what I'm saying. Bryce Young, who? We ain't worried about that
Not
either.
worried? Okay.
We ain't worried about that either.
All right. Fair enough. Slowly but surely, Zay is becoming a Falcons fan. He's ready to order his number 7 jersey.
Hitting that dirty bird right now. Y'all see me on YouTube and Twitch, baby. Gotta hit that thing.
Jamal Anderson would be both proud and terrified right now.
Just give me some lemon pepper wings, stripping from Magic City, a Bijan jersey, and I'm Atlanta out.
There it is. Now, that means you have to hate the Saints, right? I mean, hate the Saints. That is that is a long-standing, deep South NFL rivalry. You have to hate those people.
I mean,
that's one of the first things you got to know. That's your rival. You okay with that?
No. I love me some gumbo.
Okay. I didn't say you couldn't eat gumbo.
Yeah.
I said you need to root against the Saints. You need to root actively against Derek Carr and everything that is the Saints.
I mean, Breeze is gone, obviously, so the Austin tie isn't there no more.
I don't think there's a Vaccaro on that roster right
No,
now.
Vaccaro's not been gone.
I don't think that's there anymore.
I like Tyrann Mathieu, but no ties to him.
Okay.
Yeah, there might be some hater to this.
You may have to learn.
you know.
You have to learn that rivalry. They say you have to be taught to hate. Say Falcons fans may need to teach you that one. All right, coming up, we'll get back into the NBA as well. How about tonight's matchup? Game 1, Lakers at Golden State to get that series started, plus Miami and New York are in Game 2, and it's probably going to be a must-win tonight for the Knicks at MSG. We'll get into those. Plus, we got a spot opened up at the Mullet Open. Bucky found an open spot. Could be for you. We'll tell you how you can get that spot next hour. Stay with us. It's The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, how about hour number 3 on a Tuesday? We hope you're having a good one. Big series starting in the NBA tonight. We've talked about last night's action. We talked about Bijan rocking number 7 in Atlanta. It's Chad and Zay. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, and he always picks out a beat to start the third hour. What do you got, Zay?
Grinding. The Clips, Pusha T, Malice, The Brothers. Produced by Pharrell, Neptunes. Classic beat.
The Clips, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
This might be the most used freestyle beat of all time because you could make this beat in the lunchroom, at church, wherever you have a table. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Easily done.
It's like the
Pharrell's a genius.
It's like the We Will Rock You of hip hop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's interesting because that's the construction of that. The way they depicted it in the movie as well was the idea from the guitar player for Queen was, I want to give the crowd something they can participate in. And then it all came from that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. All you need is, I can see people sitting around a table. Boom, 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 boom. I like that.
Yep, just rapping.
Good
People
stuff.
that don't even know how to rap have freestyled over this beat.
Now, how dare you? Everyone who raps has always known how to rap.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? There's never been anyone that tried to rap that couldn't do it.
Yeah, if that was the case, Hammer and Vanilla Ice would be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Come on, man. There's no need. There's no need for that. That's what we need to do sometime is we need to go over the bottom end for you, like of the rappers people know. I need your like bottom Mount Rushmore. The worst 4 rappers of your life, in your opinion. That actually have a name to them. Not some rando you saw at like a church function.
Right.
Not that. Someone people actually know where you'd go, nah, they're the 4 worst.
Yeah. Hammer and Vanilla Ice. They'd be the first 2. That's easy.
Okay.
See, I respect Will Smith more than a lot of people.
Okay.
Because Fresh Prince, like Summertime, it doesn't get much better than that. Like, I love Summertime. That's a jam. And even the Miami stuff, yo, that's a different bop for me, too. That's a little bit of a jam. So I can't throw Will in there.
Fair enough.
I can't do it. Will has way more respect. It'll be tough to figure out that other bottom 2.
You got 2 spots left. We'll figure that out.
Y'all
as
help
we
me
go
out,
along.
too.
There
Y'all help
you
me
go.
out on Specs Text
Let
line.
us know. Specs Text line 337-3776. Who would you put on that bottom Mount Rushmore of hip-hop artists for Zay? Help him out. Also, we'll get into some NBA talk here tonight. They start in Golden State, and it is the Lakers and the Warriors. Zay, give me a thought on this series. How are you breaking it down as we're about to start this thing? LeBron and Steph getting together again.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty surreal, you know. Both of those guys, legends in their own right. Both of them have 4 rings. We know that a big part of LeBron's legacy is because of Steph and altering that with those dubs, literally the dubs, but the Warriors beating the Cavaliers 3 straight times and then, you know, KD coming along. So they have their own little rivalry. But if we're just talking Lakers and the Warriors, how tired are the Warriors going to be tonight? That's my biggest question. Coming off of that very emotional, physical series with the Kings going 7 games, that last game was just on Sunday. The only person that looked like they were energized was Steph Curry, and he gave you 50, but we saw Klay struggle. We saw Andrew Wiggins struggle. And coming in tonight with the Lakers having the rest that they did, will the Lakers be able to use that to their advantage? Because tonight they're going to need this game 1. The Lakers need this. Isn't one of LeBron's classic feel-out games that he's been known for. He always comes into game 1 feeling it out, seeing how he's going to be played, being a little passive, trying to get his teammates involved. LeBron's going to have to be aggressive, and the matchups, they're going to be really interesting too. Anthony Davis, Kevon Looney. We know Kevon Looney dominated Sabonis, especially after Sabonis got stomped on. He was a different player, and he got hit in the eye, etc. He got beat up in that series. So the way that they played Sabonis the whole time, Looney would just hang around in the paint area, and they would give him that open shot, that mid-range shot, the three-pointer. Sabonis would take it sometimes, and then other times he would orchestrate the offense and get Fox and Monk and Herter and Murray off of those dribble handoffs and stuff. So
But
in
you
a
can't
way,
do that with Davis.
you can't do that with AD.
Right.
You cannot do that with Anthony Davis. He will light you up, and he just has more flair than Sabonis does. Like, he's going to make Kevon Looney work. And who is going to guard Bron then? Is it going to be Draymond Green? Which Draymond, yo, bruh, it's kind of weird, your relationship with LeBron James nowadays. I know y'all are tight. I know y'all are close. But there's been reports that have came out as of late, especially with this series about to start tonight, that when LeBron was about to break the record for all-time leading scorer, Draymond asked Steve Kerr if he could miss some games to go watch LeBron play.
Well,
I repeat, Draymond Green, who is on the Warriors, asked Steve Kerr if he could miss games on his own NBA team in order to go watch LeBron break the record.
He wasn't hurt?
No, he wasn't hurt.
Wasn't missing time?
No, none of that. And Steve Kerr said, yeah, it's probably not best for us. Probably not best that you did that. And Draymond was like, okay, I get it.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, I'm a fan in some situations of you might as well ask. The worst they can say is no, but what a weird question to come up
That's
with.
a very weird thing to say.
That's strange, Draymond.
Yeah, and people, we know their rivalry. Draymond, well, it's not really a rivalry because we know LeBron's way past Draymond as a player, but we know their history, I should say, with Draymond kicking LeBron in the nuts and get kicked out of the game in 2016 finals. So it's just weird how he's turned around his thought process with LeBron. Like, he always speaks highly of LeBron. It's kind of a running joke on social media how Draymond's a huge jock rider when it comes to LeBron James, and how you were once upon a time he was LeBron's biggest enemy. It's very odd.
Yeah, and that's fine, obviously, to have that. And when LeBron passes, gets the record, you send him texts, tweets, call him up. And
send him some vino. You know he likes his wine. Send him expensive vino.
Yeah. And also, how did a story like that get out? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
If he really did ask Steve Kerr and that was the response, how did it get to us?
I don't know. We know Draymond likes to talk. I don't know if he said that in the podcast. I don't think so, because that would be circulating too. But
why would you admit that?
It's weird. And that's like, how locked in are you going to be, Draymond? Are you going to be that same ferocious, I'll stomp on you guy? Or since it's LeBron, are you going to ease up? Because you can't, just because it's LeBron, you can't ease up. You got to turn it up to a whole nother level since it is Bron. So
weird.
that matchup's going to be interesting. How is Draymond going to guard Anthony Davis? Who's going to guard Steph Curry? They have nobody that could guard him. I like Jared Vanderbilt, H-Town kid. He ain't going to be able to guard him at all. So you're just going to try to slow him down. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell. I know they don't even want to guard
I was just
him.
thinking Russell.
Hell no. No.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's going to have a field day. But those other guys, they're going to have to stop Wiggins. They're going to have to stop Klay Thompson. Jordan Poole, he was kind of up and down in that Kings series. If he has a big series, Lakers have no chance. If Jordan Poole has a big series, Lakers have no chance. Dennis Schroeder, he'll be on Steph Curry a lot. Schroeder has to be huge tonight and for the rest of the series if the Lakers want a chance. And LeBron, he's got to be more aggressive. 24 points a game. Depending on what Anthony Davis is going to do, I think he's going to have his hands full with Looney and Draymond Green, just getting Looney off the boards. Like, Anthony Davis is going to have his hands full, and defensively, when those guys drive, Anthony Davis better be there to block shots and muck things up for the Warriors. And then LeBron, his scoring, that points per game average, it has to go up from 24 points to around 30 if the Lakers want to win the series, which I don't think they will.
Okay, so I was going to say your gut would tell you Golden State wins.
Yeah, I'm going.
Gotcha.
Just Steph. He's too ridiculous. I think this is a huge mismatch for the Lakers trying to guard Steph and slow him down. And then once they start trying to do that, it's going to open up stuff for Klay, for Andrew Wiggins, for Jordan Poole, etc.
So, Zay, the listeners are trying to help you with the bottom of the hip-hop world, the lower end Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, let's get it.
Multiple votes for Snow have come in.
Snow?
Informer?
Who?
Informer.
Oh, that dude's a rapper?
They like the boom, boom, down. That guy.
I'm not going to lie. That was a hit.
Somebody says Ja Rule. Someone says
no.
Someone says Too Short.
No.
Someone says Iggy Azalea has no business rapping. Tekashi 6ix9ine
Okay, he might be up there. Tekashi, he might be.
says,
up there.
and any other mumble rapper. This says
You can tell that's an old head.
Migos and Common.
No, come on, don't disrespect
I
Common.
wouldn't go that far, right?
Common's a very good lyricist.
How
Don't
about-
disrespect
How
him.
about Lil Pump? Somebody says Lil Pump. one
Yeah,
of the
he might
worst.
be up there too. Those guys are newer, so
Okay.
that's more just like old head hating.
Okay.
Like, oh man, these young kids nowadays, they don't know hip hop. That's what I get from the Lil Pump and Tekashi 6ix9ine. It's accurate. I don't like those guys either, but I think that's more old head talk than, a Vanilla Ice or Hammer.
Somebody said Vanilla Ice all by himself.
Yeah.
It's all 4 spots for some part. And then another one says, but Hammer and Van Winkle do earn some respect for their staying power. Will also has a Grammy. You mentioned Will Smith, so apparently.
That's what I'm saying. Will has hits. I don't feel right putting them up there.
Yeah. Someone says from Sal in New York, The Lost Boys, the gold standard for suckiness.
Oh yeah.
Not familiar with the Lost Boys. Bad.
Yeah. Not the best.
It's a tough thing to do badly.
It is.
It's a tough thing.
I'm very offended by the Ja Rule. Ja Rule, him and 50 Cent had beef. 50 Cent's not going to pick beef with somebody that's not worth it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
that's fair.
Like serious beef. It was intense to where I was a little nervous. Like, I hope something doesn't happen Tupac or Biggie-ish to 50 or Ja Rule, because 50 is flat out ignorant. Like, he was doing it to sell records. He wasn't thinking about the consequences that could happen with it. He was just, I'm 50 Cent. I don't give a damn about nobody.
Uh-huh.
That's how he still kind of carries himself that way.
Right.
But yeah, Ja Rule, now it's kind of powder puff rap. It's for the ladies, most of his hits, but still, Ja Rule deserves a lot more respect. He has no right to be on the bottom 4.
Okay, and one more here before we get back to the basketball conversation. Lil Yachty.
I see why they're saying that.
Okay.
He's a mumble rapper. Yeah, he's
All right.
okay.
And I apologize for going to the negative route. It's just a question I never asked. Hey, we've always talked about the top, the top of the hip hop world. Never talked about the bottom before. All right. So we got the Lakers and Golden State getting started tonight. The first game of the night will be Miami at New York. Game number 2. Obviously, Zay, New York can't fall down 2-0. They've got to even it up tonight. What is the key? Am I reading correctly? They could be without Randall and Brunson tonight?
I didn't see the Brunson. I didn't see that. I saw Randall. I did not see Jalen Brunson. If they're without him, they have no chance.
Okay. Let me double check that because
I know Jimmy Butler, they might be without him, but I've heard he had a good walkthrough today where he could cut and move laterally without that ankle being too much of a problem. Yes, he's going to feel it, but I don't think it's in a place where he should be out the game.
Okay, so an hour ago, there's a New York Post story talking about Brunson playing through the injuries, questionable with a sore right ankle, but his teammates are saying he's going to gut it out and try to play.
It's tough, man.
So it could be, so Randall definitely won't play, correct?
I don't know about definitely. It seems,
yeah.
I see questionable.
Okay, so really kind of both of them, I guess, are questionable game time decision kind of stuff. Yeah, you are right. Yes, joining Julius Randle in that questionable category, who sat out with so it's ankles for both, and we'll just have to see how that works. And then the Jimmy Butlers. It's ankles for everybody.
Yeah, man.
Because Jimmy Butler's is an ankle as well. It's going to be wild to see how that plays out. But in the end, Miami just had too many shooters for them in game 1. I want to see if the Knicks can D up. By the end of that game, that was such a weird environment when MSG realized what was happening there. Miami just kind of shot them out of it. We'll see if they can do it again.
Yeah, they're a tough guard. They're a tough guard. They're really difficult to defend because they have so many different ways they could play. At times, Spo will put Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. They'll have a 2-man game themselves. And then you'll have Gabe Vincent, who's knocking down shots, Max Strus, who's also knocking down shots, and Kevin Love spotting up. So you want to help on Jimmy Butler. You want to help on Bam Adebayo, but you're giving up threes to those other 3 guys I just named. And Kevin Love's been amazing for them. That's a big-time trade within the season because with the Cavaliers, all those big men that they have, Jared Allen, Mobley, he wasn't seeing the court much. Miami, they needed him. They needed him. They needed a veteran leader, a guy who's won a championship before, been there, done that. Like, nothing's too big for Kevin Love, and that's the perfect person you need when you play at the Garden. And I know him and Jimmy Butler, they get along very well. So Spo, I think he gets slept on just because when you have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade on your team and you win championships, nobody wants to give you the credit. He deserves credit. He's a very good coach, and he has a really good mentor in Pat Riley. So they do a really good job down there in South Beach with their organization, drafting players, developing them, finding players that people forget about and bringing them in and making it work, like Vincent and Strus. And now going into game 2, with no Julius Randle, the Knicks are always going to be at a disadvantage because Julius Randle, he's their all-star. He's been their main guy. I know Jalen Brunson's been good, and he's been the guy that kind of put them over the hump into the playoffs and make them kind of a contender in the East with that bringing them in the offseason free agency. But Julius Randle was the all-star this year. Him at 6'9", being a lefty, being able to handle the ball, post up, can knock down the outside shot. Like, that's 25 points a game that you're having to make up for. So RJ Barrett, that's a lot on his shoulders. Emmanuel Quickley, who hasn't been good in the playoffs at all. People were talking about him maybe being a 6th man of the year. He's got to be better. Maybe you play a Derrick Rose. I don't know. He's just sitting on the bench like, I get it. He's not 2011 Derrick Rose. He ain't dunking on nobody, but he might be able to give you something. You know, Quentin Grimes, him coming back from that injury. It's just going to be tough without Julius Randle. Robinson and Bam Adebayo, those guys are battling, but Mitchell Robinson, he's more of a rebounder, shot blocker. He's not a guy that's going to get you 25 points. So Julius Randle doesn't play tonight, regardless of how healthy Jimmy Butler is with his injury. I expect the Heat to take game 2.
Tonight's kind of about injuries and gas tanks. Injuries in the first game, gas tanks in the second one.
Right.
The old greatness in that second series, who's ready with the energy in game 1, and then who can go for Miami and New York. I'll just go on a limb here and say I'll be shocked if Brunson and Jimmy Butler didn't play tonight. Those two guys are tough as hell. They may not play well. I bet they're both going to give something. They're going to give you minutes tonight and just try it.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's the type of dude that has to be in ER not to play.
Right. They're going to strap him to something to get him out.
Yeah, like he was – when he got hurt, in game 1, Chad, Jimmy Butler, he was already like changing his thought process of how to approach the game. Like he was standing in the corner, like focused on his catch and shoot because he knew he had to be ready for that. Like he'll find a way to contribute, whether it's having the ball in his hands a lot, making a certain big time rebound, getting a certain big steal. Even if he's 50%, 30%, 100%, Jimmy Butler being on that court gives Miami a better chance if he wasn't on the court.
Also just looking at this schedule, game 3 of that Miami Knicks series is not on Thursday, but game 2 of the Golden State Lakers is. So they're only one game in between. So whatever happens tonight with that late game, in terms of, again, the guys on the older side getting a little gassed, they got to play on Thursday night again.
Yeah.
Just to keep it in mind.
That's why I think tonight could be the Jordan Poole game. We could see Jordan Poole go for 20-something because there's not a matchup for him. They're going to be so focused on Steph, especially after getting 50. Jordan Poole, I think he knows that he's going to have to go crazy, and he's capable of doing that. Average 20 points this year.
Should be an interesting series to see. A lot of great angles in that one. Everything's TNT tonight, 6:30 for the Knicks game in Madison Square Garden, and 9 o'clock at the Warriors' new home as they try to go back to back. They're going to have to get by LeBron to have a chance to do it. Up next, we'll talk more about May 2nd and why it matters to us. Only got a couple birthdays on the board, but we will get to a couple of those. Plus, we will continue to talk about the far, far, far south end of the hip-hop spectrum. As I asked Zay earlier, who are the worst 4 rappers in hip-hop? He threw Hammer and Vanilla Ice in real quick. 2 spots left. You're trying to figure out who those are. We'll talk about that. Right now, though, let's get somebody to the Mullet Open. Bucky contacted Zay earlier and said, I got 1 spot available. So you need to be available on Friday, and you need to have, golf clubs, I guess. I don't think we can be borrowing clubs.
No.
Have your clubs ready. Can you play in the Mullet Open on Friday? Spot available. Call Zay right now, 447-3776, and let him know you're interested, and then he'll pass your name on to Bucky. Mullet Open coming up on Friday. We will be there. Bucky and Aaron, this show, and Ball Don't Lie live at the Mullet Open out in Bastrop at the Hyatt Lost Pines Resort out there. That is this Friday on Cinco de Mayo. So give Zay a call, 447-3776, if you can be a part of it on Friday. One spot available. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Ball Don't Lie will follow us with Rod and Harge. This I should know, right?
Yep.
It's big time.
Yep. I write checks. Let me give you a hint.
Please do.
Bad Boy Records.
Bad Boy Records. Why can't I come up with this?
Biggie Smalls.
No, I don't have it. Who is it?
Diddy.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I don't know why I couldn't come up with it. Jeez. Write checks. Biggie Small. You did everything.
Yeah,
No,
Bad Boy Records.
Bad Boy. You did everything you could do. You did everything you could do. Now, would this be the P. Diddy era?
Yeah.
Okay. P. Diddy, KC and the Sunshine Band, Stevie Wonder, Kiss, Bay City Rollers. My bad to all the P. Diddy fans out there. Plus the Clips beat to start this hour. Fantastic stuff there. And we'll get back into the bottom of the hip-hop discussion because somehow that came up into – because we just threw out the fact that, Zay was talking about good rappers versus bad rappers, and then we started talking about the absolute worst.
Yeah, the person
rappers.
that threw Jay-Z out there, I was this close to blocking your
Come
ass.
on, man.
I was this close to blocking you. I am
That's-
so against blocking our specs texters. I am not for that. Everybody has their opinion, even if it's ignorant. But, yo.
Yeah, that's rude.
No,
That's rude.
That's very wild.
Yeah, that's just rudeness. We won't have that going on. A lot of stuff out there. In fact, let's get into May 2nd and why today matters. Got good news for a Texas baseball player to start off. Certainly good news. Obviously, there's not, it's not all good news for the Texas baseball team. They're trying to figure some things out at this point of the year. They did just get the series from TCU, and now Lucas Gordon was named Big 12 Conference Co-Pitcher of the Week, his first such honor of the year. 2.16 ERA, that leads the Big 12. He got that series opening win against TCU, 5-0. On the year. So he went 8 innings in that game as well. They've certainly found that part of the pitching staff, and now with Tanner Witt trying to work his way back in and what LeBaron Johnson's doing, Longhorn baseball may have some good news. Remember, no game tonight, no game midweek for Texas this week. They get to rest up a little bit as they get ready for the trip to Kansas this weekend. So we'll be talking a lot about that. Earlier in the show, I did mention the XFL championship game. It is set for May 13th. The Rock is 51 years old today.
Wow.
Happy birthday to Dwayne.
Just game changing, man. When I fell in love with wrestling, the Attitude Era, I was always a Stone Cold fan.
Uh-huh.
And my best friend, Trey Lindsay, head coach of Bowie High School men's basketball team, he was always a Rock fan. So,
Like even the early days of Rock,
not like
Nation of Domination
no,
Rock.
not that Rock. Rock when he was coming into his own. Do you smell that?
Oh, okay.
That Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
People's Eyebrow Rock.
Yeah, people's
That's when he was getting
eyebrow
into
Rock. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
when he got it. And then the rivalry too. Just Stone Cold,
Right.
Dwayne Johnson. That might be the best rivalry in wrestling. And you know me, I love the Attitude Era. Again, that's when I fell
Sure.
in love with it. So I'm a little biased, but it was gonna be tough to find another one.
Well, those two are definitely in that discussion because when they cut promos on each other, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And then the work ended up being pretty incredible. Like they could both put on really interesting matches. They made, they would really pull you into it, and they worked well together. Their chemistry was awesome too. So it all went together. They're in that discussion. A&E's done not only the biography shows, but they've done a rivalry show.
Oh, that's dope.
And that was one of them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and Stone Cold was absolutely one of them. That's
You
one of the best.
Remember when the Rock threw Stone Cold in the river?
Yes.
They're on the bridge. He
No.
threw him like in the water.
Now, I know wait. Now I know at one point didn't Stone Cold throw The Rock's belt into the river?
I want to say The Rock threw the belt in the river after he threw Stone Cold in the river. He might have.
And remember John Cena and Edge had the thing where one of them got thrown into a river. I know. I don't remember The Rock and Stone Cold doing the river throw.
Yo.
Like they physically threw each other in?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember the belt going in. I don't remember them throwing each other into the river.
Oh, man, that's so cold.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
They did some great stuff back in the day.
And then Stone Cold coming in with the beer truck and spraying everybody in the ring.
Yep.
Rocky in the ring, Vince McMahon, those guys.
Running over the Rock's limo with the monster truck. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Ran right over the limo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out who ran over Stone Cold?
Who ran over
in the
Stone
limo?
Cold?
Like Stone Cold walking outside backstage, just ran him over. It was like a inside job.
Oh, I don't recall that. Off the top of my head, I don't recall. That one. Rikishi.
God, for some reason, Rikishi came to my place, but that doesn't make sense. Y'all let us know, man.
I did not know.
Yo, Rocky was that
Rikishi
dude.
was getting mentioned.
From him to go from WWE now to Hollywood phenom, pretty impressive.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. It's an amazing story. From where he was, Miami defensive lineman, injuries took him out. He was on those teams he was Warren Sapp's backup, I think, for a little while in the 90s. And yeah, Dwayne Johnson turns into The Rock and then turns into the biggest movie star on the planet. He's become like Arnold 2.0. That's kind of what he is to me. And he's varied himself.
You think he's a better actor
more.
than Arnold?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I do. Yeah, because Arnold kind of got into that one niche. And The Rock has done a little bit more on the serious side, but I mean, he hasn't done a ton of it.
Like what?
I mean, there's like he can do like the stuff he's done with or maybe not the serious, not like drama.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he can do a little more on the comedic side than Arnold. A little bit more. Like with the Jumanji stuff, Arnold couldn't quite go that far, I think, with the comedic side.
What was that joint, Arnold and Danny DeVito? That wasn't funny?
He did do Twins. That's true.
Twins, yeah.
That's true. That's what I said.
Jingle All the Way.
He's just that next evolution of that. And Arnold had his humor side. Don't get me wrong. I just think Rock's a little bit better at it.
Remember when Rock was the Tooth Fairy? Come on.
Ooh, I did not see that movie.
Tough.
No.
That's tough.
I did not see that one.
So what's your favorite Rocky movie? The Rock movie, because people are going to think we're talking Rocky Balboa. The Rock movie.
Well, I mean, let's just go right to the top of the mountain. Fast Five. I mean, if we're gonna play a game, let's play a man's game. Fast Five. That's the answer to that question.
But
moving on.
Okay, but you are very biased to the Fast and Furious movies.
I am a Fast and Furious mark at this point in my life. Yes.
So Rocky, did he make 5 though, or was it Tyrese, Luda, Vince? Like was Paul still alive? I don't know.
Paul's still there.
Paul's still there.
No, it just created the super ensemble that was going to move forward.
Okay.
He was added in, that ingredient, it bulked that movie up in a lot of ways.
Okay. So you do have a point. The Rock is better than Arnold for this movie alone.
Okay.
Gridiron Gang.
I have not seen it.
It's a football movie.
Yeah.
Gotta see it.
Gotta see it.
Gridiron Gang.
Gridiron Gang. And I'll tell you what. The girls and I went and saw that Skyscraper movie he did where he was like the retired cop and what's her name was his wife. Got me emotional. He's trying to save those kids. He's trying to save his life. Big old building about to burn down. Spoiler alert, Rock saves everybody.
Wow, shocker.
Great movie.
Big strong man saves everybody.
Great movie. Yes, that was it. If you have your favorite Rock movies, please. Let us know.
The Rock was pretty good in Ballers. Wasn't bad.
Ooh, yeah.
As the agent, wasn't bad.
Don't forget about Ballers. Talk about range.
Yeah.
That's good. Well done. Well done, Texter. Well done. Somebody says Rundown. I know that was one of the earlier movies for him.
Yeah, Walking Tall, fire.
Uh-huh. Somebody mentioned that. Jingle All the Way. Funniest Christmas movie. Have not seen
I've never
that.
seen Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. What a random text. Tanya Harding ordered the hit on him. Oh, on Stone Cold. Tanya Harding. That's a good call. Okay. I couldn't figure out the connection. Like, why are they sending us that one?
Somebody said it was Rikishi.
That's it. Okay,
was Rikishi. I knew it.
Somebody just sent us a YouTube that they titled WWE wrestlers thrown into water. Are you? Oh my God, that's fantastic. You might be right. I did not remember The Rock or Stone Cold being thrown in a river. I remember it was Edge throwing Cena in. I think that's what it was. I think Edge threw John Cena into like the Long Island Sound or something.
Oh, yeah. Rock threw Stone Cold in the river. Then he threw the belt in the river. Take that with your monkey ass. You know how you say all that stuff. It's terrific.
I always wondered how many divers they had to go get those belts, too. You know they had somebody going to get those belts.
Yeah, they had somebody ready.
Or they had some real janky fake belt made. Hey, make me the $4 belt that we can throw into the river. Oh, there you go.
See, Jeff Howe just sent you a rundown of all the
Rock,
river
Stone
incidents.
Cold. Oh, right. Okay, but that wasn't – I got it. Okay. All right. I see it. That was the body double Stone Cold going in. I forgot about that one. My bad.
Yo, Eric Reigns, you tripping. Eric Reigns trying to throw 2 Live Crew in there for worst rappers of all time. Nah, E. Reigns, I can't do it. Luke and them? No, sir. Luke and them, legends. All that rump shaking. Yo, if it wasn't for Uncle Luke, there wouldn't be the parental advisory on albums. That's how dirty they were. That's how they were changing the game. Uncle Luke and 2 Live Crew. Nah, I don't agree with that. They were doing stuff. And the way they were making women shake that rump.
That's got to count for something.
No, he's a legend. Luke should be in the Hall of Fame. 2 Live Crew. They should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Word up.
That's a speech I want to hear.
I'm saying.
That's the speech I want to hear. All right, coming up, we'll get you stems and seeds before we get out of here. Lots of stuff coming in today. Couple of updates for you on NBA injuries as we get ready for this Miami-New York game tonight. Also, the Philly game tomorrow with Embiid. Plus, a wild story out of the NFL. Former NFL player about to head to prison. This is The Horn. All right, it's Chad. Let's talk a little Apple leasing, and they can get you into any car, any truck, any make, any model. It is so simple. I love the process. Just took a couple phone calls to get things going and explain how they do it for me. 346-9977. I talked to Beth. I told her what I was looking for and kind of how I wanted to upgrade, certain things I wanted to upgrade, the things that didn't really matter to me, but certain, cars that I'd looked at, and I was looking at a couple different brands. So that's where it really helps you. You don't have to go to one dealership and look around and find out their selection. Oh, now I got to go to another dealership. Now I'm going to a third dealership. They're going to be able to get all those contacts dealt with for you. They deal with all that. They'll get you all the rebates that you're entitled to. They'll get you all the sales that are going on. They'll get you the best selection possible because they're looking at different places at once, and you're getting the same discounts and incentives that the dealers get you, but they're going to pass those savings on to you. They take the hassle for themselves, and you don't have to worry about all of that. You're going to be signing all the documents electronically. That part was really easy. That may have been my favorite part of the whole process. Well, maybe not. My favorite part was that they delivered it right to my driveway. They'll do that for you if you need them to do it as well, and drive away the trade-in. 346-9977 or go to appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
Boy, I hope you got the clean version of this.
Yep.
An album I've never listened to all the way through.
Oh, that might be next week.
One day I may need to do that. This would be Two Live Crew, Me So Horny, off of the As Nasty As They Want to Be album.
Yep.
Is that what it was called?
That's right. As nasty as they want to be.
I have never listened to it. I did love how much fear it created back in the day. How scared the folks got. How scared parents and politicians got of this stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're the reason why you see the parental advisory sticker on albums and CDs is because of these guys.
They got arrested for performing it live. They got arrested for performing it. And a lot of us thought, erroneously, that the whole sticker thing was not going to become what it was going to become. Because only the true visionaries realized, oh, well, wait a minute. We want the stickers.
Yeah.
Of course we want the stickers, because that's what the kids are going to look for.
Yep.
And then that happened too. So
genius,
in
man.
a way, the PMRC and Tipper Gore and that whole crew, they actually helped out a lot.
Yeah.
They helped the sales of stuff like this. Because is Two Live Crew phenomenal stuff? Maybe, maybe not.
No.
But that sticker made it different forever. And the same thing happened with metal albums and other stuff that was a little more extreme, and it made those artists, it gave them street cred. It gave them cred with the fans. those stickers. Because nowadays, that's all I look for. I'm looking for one word, Zay, when I'm going to the streaming services for music. I'm looking for a word that starts with E.
Yep.
Explicit. That's all I want. I don't want to see edited. I don't want to see clean. I want the word explicit. That's what I'm looking for. Every time you send me to find a hip-hop album, it's the first thing I'm looking for. Explicit. That's what I did when I pulled up that Busta Rhymes record yesterday. I don't need the clean version of anything. Don't give me that. All right, so 2 Live Crew, P. Diddy, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Stevie Wonder, Kiss, and Bay City Rollers. That's a festival. The Clips beat to start the hour as well. A lot of good music on the show today. Remember, if you go to hornfm.com, you can register to win those Aerosmith tickets before you can buy them. They go on sale later this week. Also, congrats to Kyle, who got that spot in the Mullet Open that opened up today. Thank you, Kyle, for supporting the station. We'll be out at the Mullet Open on Friday. All right, let's...
Shout out to Kyle. How I did this, Chad,
Yeah.
in honor of Bijan Robinson's new number 7. I did the 7th caller.
Oh, there you go.
That was Kyle.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so Kyle is going to be filling that spot in the Mullet Open. We did mention that Bijan will be rocking number 7 with Atlanta. Let's get into stems and seeds, and we will start with an incredible clarification text that I got from one of our own. Here we go.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Our man Jeff Howe, big pro wrestling fan, has clarified. Zay, here we go. Says Austin went to the bridge to get the Smoking Skull belt and threw him off the bridge. Rikishi did run over Stone Cold. Good job. Cena threw Edge into the Long Island Sound. I had that reversed. Technically, Austin got thrown off the Rudy Poo Bridge. That's the best part of this text. And there was the deal where Kurt Angle blindfolded heel Austin and threatened to throw him off a bridge, but he pushed him into a kiddie pool. I know that's a lot. No, it's not. It's a perfect amount. Thank you, Jeff.
What a
Appreciate
time.
that. Appreciate that. Happy birthday to The Rock today. He is 51, and people were telling us some of their favorite movies. All right, it's, in terms of the NBA tonight, Miami and New York, you got ankles all over the place that we hope are going to be able to be good. Jimmy Butler's dealing with an ankle. Brunson and Randall all dealing with ankle injuries, but I think they're going to try to gut it out. The teammates are saying Jalen Brunson's going to try to play, and we assume Jimmy Butler is going to do the same thing.
Yeah, who knows how much that ankle affected Jalen Brunson in game 1, because he was bad. 5 turnovers, went 0 for 7 from 3. Not the Jalen Brunson that we saw in that first round that was absolutely killing the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're going to need all of him to win this game too, and to win the series, especially since we don't know what's going to happen with Julius Randle.
Also, Zay, Doc Rivers is saying that Joel Embiid is, trying to go with this. It's an LCL sprain in his right knee. He says they're going to base it strictly on medical. They're not changing their idea because they won game 1. Think it's a good idea? Or would you shut him down either way?
Strictly medical. This is the time of the year. If he's able to play and it's not going to affect them or make it worse, then let him play.
You got to play.
Let him play.
Because you can take a stranglehold on that series. You could go 2-0 and you're headed to Philly? Oh, I'd play him if he can go. He says if it's 50-50, they'll hold him out. And I understand that part. But if you're better than a coin flip, if they tell me 60% are up, we're going. This is an MVP quality guy. It's either him or the Joker again. MVP discussion guy? Yeah, we're going to play him.
Yeah, you got to.
Hell, if you tell me 51%, I think I'll play him. It's Joel Embiid, man. Right. He's a stud.
Absolutely.
I'd play the guy. Also, Zay, weird story out of the NFL or former NFL. Do you see this? Henry Ruggs III will plead guilty in that fatal DUI case. They have reached, there's a preliminary hearing coming up. He'll plead guilty. They got rid of a couple of the counts, but he'll plead guilty to a couple counts, and he's going to serve 3 to 10 years in state prison. If he had gone all the way through and not struck a deal, he might have been looking at 50 years in jail.
Wow.
This is the 156 miles an hour, ended up killing the woman and her dog in the SUV, if y'all don't remember that story. And blood alcohol was high. Rough.
Just threw it all away, man. You get drafted, you work so hard to get to this point. You had to take getting yelled at by Nick Saban, and you finally make it just to throw it all away.
Yep. That's a crazy, crazy story. So Henry Ruggs may very soon be headed off to jail. That story gets updated, I'm sure, fairly quickly. Also, we started the show talking about a couple different stories in NFL-wise. Green Bay reaching a one-year extension with Jordan Love. A little confusing for some, but kind of establishing. We already know he's their guy, but now he'll get $13.5 guaranteed over the next year or so. His salary goes from like $2 million all the way up to $22.5 next year. But what if he plays terrible this year? What if he's awful? What do they do then? Because
that's a big possibility.
If they had just let him play, they had a team option. They could have waited. Just wait. Hey, do you want to pay him $20 million? Is he that good? And they could have just said no and been clear and clean. But that wouldn't look good, I think. Maybe they want to try to make it seem like, no, we knew this was our guy all along.
Yeah, maybe just for his psyche, knowing that the team believes in you with what happened with Aaron Rodgers, that they're putting their trust in you, should give him more confidence and him not have to worry about who's going to take his spot. Should make him a more successful quarterback this season, but we'll see.
Miami or the Knicks tonight?
New York.
New York evens it up?
Yeah.
Lakers or Golden State game one?
Lakers.
Lakers